All right, I think we started. There we go. I couldn't tell. We're having internet trouble. Guys, welcome back to another episode of Nephilim Death Squad. I am David Lee Corbo, a.k.a. The Raven. That is Top Lobster, the father of disinformation. There it goes. It worked that time. Before we get into today's guest, a little reminder, sometime around the half an hour mark, we're going live exclusively to patreon.com// Nephilim Death Squad if you want to continue enjoying this episode, engaging in the live chat, gaining early access to episodes, ad-free viewing and listening experiences.
He's going to say something about Bohemian Grove.
Oh, Bohemian Grove. We're sitting
maybe
in the very place where the VIP experience is going to happen. It's going to be really cool because you guys are going to hang out, and we're going to do a live Bible study with Ed Mabry and Matt, and we're going to have the doors open, and you guys can just hang and watch it happen, and then we're going to come and peruse, schmooze, what's the word? Socialize.
Yeah,
we'll hang out with you.
We'll talk you up.
Anyway, guys, also discount codes off of merchandise from toplobster.com. Y'all be tripping. That's the one you're wearing. Why don't we put that
Where's
one
that
on
at?
I don't know. It's on your chest.
It's got to be somewhere here.
Oh,
here we go.
There it is. Y'all be tripping. And we weren't.
Tripping.
None of us were raptured recently, and much to my dismay, the 23rd came and went, and we remain.
Nevertheless,
joining us today in studio, IRL, very cool to have you once again, brother. It's Steven of the Biblical Hitmen. Before we get into the discussion today and all the fascinating topics, let's remind everybody where they can find you and what you do.
Yeah, appreciate you guys for letting me come back on the show.
Of course.
And it's always a lot of fun. And for anyone that wants to find what I do, you can find us, The Biblical Hitman, on YouTube, Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok. I'm not really on TikTok too much.
We got banned off of TikTok.
Banned from TikTok.
Yeah, I get a lot of community guideline issues there.
Yeah.
And you could check us out on audio platforms.
You know, the
as well.
Chinese, those damn...
Yeah. Oh, you talked to Gary Wayne recently, right?
Yeah.
That's
Gary's
very
awesome,
cool.
man.
I love Gary. We
Yeah.
got to have him back on the show. We got his book hanging out right over there.
I don't think he'll come back on.
Probably not. Probably not. If anybody tells him what's been going on, he's not going to come back on the show. I did want to mention, too, live from the Standard
Are those the young
Coffee
colored
Shop.
people that
colored
aggravated Blue Letter Bible?
Yeah, shout out to Blue Letter Bible. Boom. But we are live from the Standard Coffee Shop. I just like to remind people, if you're in the area and you want to come by, I mean, people have been funneling in all morning because I was here earlier than I should have been, and people were taking selfies in the studio and all kinds of cool stuff. So if you're in the area, this kind of Ocala area, look up the Standard Coffee Shop, come and hang and take some selfies. Come sit, pretend to talk into the mic, have a coffee, good coffee.
Yeah, that's what they do. They come, they touch our stuff, they move it around.
They touch our stuff.
I got to figure out how to make it all work again.
They adjust our dials and everything else.
Shout out to Justin and Prometheus Lens podcast, Doc Brown.
What's up, brother?
What's up? He said
what's
you
up,
beat
Doc?
him
What's up, brother?
to the coffee shop. Yeah.
Where is Doc from? He's not even in
Tennessee.
Yeah, he's not even in Florida. It was an easy race. Steven had you beat. He's literally local.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got everybody beat.
Yeah, man. He's not coming from Tennessee. So I know you said before the show started, we said, what are we going to talk about? Because it's just cool to have you, in studio. Any opportunity we get to hang out, I think is a good move. We should always just fire up the cameras. We came a little bit unprepared, but Stevens goes, I want to talk about Mystery Babylon. And we pretty much said...
Well, a number of other things
A number of other things, but we stopped him right there. We go, yeah, that is fascinating. I don't know where you want to start. You had some personal experiences you want to get into. Wherever you want to take it off from.
Really, the whole thing with Mystery Babylon, it's a mystery, right? But it kind of goes back to, what religion does the world revolve around? What is it saturated in? It's obviously something that's in contrary to the Holy Spirit, in contrary to God, and that structure of things. And just diving into a few books, diving into some research that I've been really kind of picking apart, it was something that it was like one layer after another, after another, after another, and you start to get to the meat and the core of things when you do that. And when I was doing this research, I obviously think that there were entities, spirits that did not like what I was getting into, and it became aware to me when I had an experience in the middle of my sleep. And
this was recent?
This was recently, yeah. It's about a week ago.
Really?
I think I told Doc about it. I'm not
It's
sure.
actually interesting because as you're talking, I look over to the bookshelf on my left here, and that book right there did the same thing by Rebecca Brown.
Oh, is that He Came to Set the Captives Free?
Yeah, I mean, same sort of phenomenon that happened to me where I was reading through it, read the whole thing, and then just I don't know. I'm not like David where I'm having dreams and very obvious stuff. but like there were things that were bothering me because of what I was looking into at that point, and I'm just like, huh.
Yeah, and it kind of took me down the rabbit hole of like the divine goddess, right? Because Mystery Babylon is a female, right?
Yeah.
It's got 7 heads, 10 horns. And it sits on many waters.
This is the thing that Parsons, L. Ron Hubbard, they're trying to summon in through, Babylon workings, which is Aleister Crowley's work on Thelema, and they're trying to summon in a female entity called. It's interesting because it's like interchangeable. We'll say the Moon Child, but then it's also like this entity is called Babylon, and this is a female entity, and this is supposed to usher in things like the divine feminine, all that stuff, which is you see it's rampant today in a huge way.
It's bad, man. And we have to understand that that's the spirit that is a part of this new world religion of some sort. Whenever it's going to come into existence, in whatever way that happens, right? I mean, I don't know if an alien's going to come here to Earth and all of a sudden, claim it's God, it's been our creator, and then combine everyone together. And, oh, yeah, the Bible, it was misinterpreted when it said, let us make man in our image. They're the ones that are going to take the credit for that.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people expect. That's what I kind of suspect is going to...
Yeah, I mean, that's what kind of everything in entertainment leads us into kind of believing. And I think in entertainment, they're really pushing Mystery Babylon. You can see the idea, especially in the Marvel Avengers movies, where they're pushing this storyline that there's the Avengers, there's these people, these Christs, these prophets that have supernatural powers, which you can read that in Matthew 24. You can see that happens in the birth pains. But this is before like the abomination of desolation. This is before the one that is the to rule those comes into existence. For example, like Tony Stark was the ultimate Avenger. Obviously there was a war between him and Captain America, but he was the one that was that was the greatest Avenger.
Even does sort of the sacrifice play like Jesus. And there's also, Jack Parsons' real name was Marvell, I believe, Parsons or something like that. I know it was like either his last name or his first name was Marvell. They modeled Tony Stark's father in the comic series, Howard Stark, after Jack Parsons or Marvell Parsons. So there's, they've kind of had this archetype pinned for a long time. I mean, when does it even start? The 50s or something like that, the Marvel series, the inception of Iron Man. And so that character has been in the wings for a long time.
Yeah, I think it was Tony Stark's father, but Tony Stark looks like Tony Stark's father, doesn't it?
Yeah.
These are like conflated people that I mean, are the same being pretty much. But yeah, it looks just like Jack Parsons.
Oh, 63. Right? 63 is how long he's been around. So, yeah, this has been a long time coming. But, yeah, he does. Yeah. He looks exactly like him.
And in the movies, you see a common theme where there is this outsider. There's this, the enemy, right, that is against the Avengers or against these people that have supernatural powers. And I think a lot of that supernatural power may have some sort of connection with like Eastern mysticism, and because that's another thing that I dove down into was Eastern mysticism, Buddhism, Hinduism, and what they that Eastern side of the world really has this connection with the the energy force, right?
Yeah.
You can see this in Star Wars. You can see that how those movies in the Western world, they just put like a Western twist on these things. But back to, when I was going down this research, Mystery Babylon, getting into the divine feminine, researching Gnosticism and researching what that theology looks like, because in the end of the world, and the end of the day, end of the world.
Well, it could be the end of the day.
Could be the same thing. Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's global Gnosticism. I had Gary Wayne on the show, and he calls it the New World Order Gnosticism. It is bringing in the Luciferian doctrine to where everyone will go, oh yeah, that is our God, because really all the religions are on the same plane. And that plane is called theosophy.
Yeah. That
plane is where all the religions have a different angle of the same God. They just don't see it that way. But getting into this research, I was seeking the divine feminine, not me personally seeking it, but I was seeking out the divine feminine to try and figure out the nature, the characteristics of it, and what it looks like in my material world today, because it's changed. Mystery Babylon, mystery, it's labeled that because... and it's on her forehead, right? It's labeled that because it changes throughout time. It changes throughout the ages. It changes throughout the cultures. But it's still the same. It's different, but still same.
Yeah, same. Well, what's interesting about that is A long time ago, if you started to look into Gnosticism and try to understand it, like, you probably could. But now we're in a unique era where if you started to look into it, and I'm sure this is what you experienced, it now looks incredibly familiar. You're like, oh, this is what is in everything that we're watching all the time. You're talking about this Eastern mysticism, and within Marvel particularly, you don't have to look any further than Doctor Strange, the film Doctor Strange, or the character Doctor Strange, where he's literally going to, India, the East, and he is learning all of, and it's everything is just rich with like sigils and ceremony and ritual, and then it snowballs even more. Eventually, in the newest one, it's like necromancy and all these different things, and so it's a fascinating time. You might have looked at these texts in the past and been like, "Whoa, what an interesting concept." Now you would look at these texts and go, "Whoa, this is Marvel, this is children's cartoons, this is video games, this is every popular piece of media that you could imagine."
Yeah, it's wild, man. And getting into that stuff, you're kind of pissing off a lot of things. And I think that's what was happening. I'm going to tell you right now that I was pissing something off. I was aware of it. I just didn't think it would come and attack me in my sleep. So this goes...
I'm burying the lead here.
Interesting.
I have an idea. I mean, so you're looking into the divine feminine and something attacks you in your sleep. Did it... never mind. I was going to say, get your seed.
Right, but you don't want to start to... Yeah.
Whatever. I'd like to hear the story.
Yeah.
So, obviously I'm sleeping, but what it felt like was a dream state. And I've had different... I've had different experiences. I've had sleep paralysis. Sure. I've had something that felt like a vision. I've had something that, and again, I don't like solely relate all my faith into these experiences, because I feel like some of these experiences are the things that can be manipulated by, this heavenly realm, the metaphysical world, if that's what you want to call it.
Right, but it should pass through that. It shouldn't be dismissed. It should pass through that filter of your faith and trying to understand this thing within that context. I think a lot of people just dismiss these experiences.
Right. And so I'm in this dream, and I'm in a room. It's dark, and I'm kind of like in a corner. And what it felt like was pretty much that I was put into this space, but I was put into whatever was there. I couldn't see it just yet. It didn't reveal itself. It's like I was in its stadium. I was on its home turf, if that makes any sense. It was almost like what kind of Vicky Joy Anderson kind of gets into, where, you're astrally pulled out into these areas where it's their it's their house, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
I'm there. The room is very dark. It's almost like an interrogation room with just like a spotlight on me. And I'm looking into the other corner, and I know there's something dark, possessive, and there's something that's very evil in nature looking back at me. It hasn't shown itself yet. So looking in that area, it then revealed itself, and it was a woman that, getting chills, brother. Wow, I'm getting chills. All right. So it walked out of the corner like it walked out of the shadows, and it presented itself to me, and it looked like three different things. It looked like The Grudge, The Ring, and The Exorcist.
So you're talking like a white gown, pale skin, long stringy black hair type of deal.
Yep. And
classic archetype.
Its face was covered. You could maybe just kind of see the peak of the nose through the hair. And I just knew it hated me. I knew it wanted to kill me, and I knew it was preparing to, be violent in some sort of way. And so when I understood and knew what it was, which I knew it was just an adversary, it was an enemy against me, its hair blasted backwards like it was like there was a fan just blowing in front of her or something, but she was screaming at me. And when she's screaming at me, it was like a screech, dude, right? It was like I don't know how to kind of say it. Just a loud screech, it could almost like break windows, right?
Okay.
And her hair's blasting backwards, and then I got a really good look at her face, and it was all cut up. It looked like the Exorcist chick when she was probably towards the end of the movie,
Yeah,
like starts at one point.
It's funny because you wonder where those character designs come from. Yeah. And then it's like, what came first? I think the experience comes first, and then it's emulated within media.
Yeah, and you're right. And so when I locked eyes on it, and I was like, oh crap, here we go. It's like one of those fight or flight or impending doom, where you're like, okay, this is only going to go one way. It turned on its back and then kind of crab walked towards me.
There you go.
And by the way, in the middle of my sleep, I'm moaning, I'm yelling, and I'm kind of like, I'm doing it all with my mouth closed, my wife said. But it woke her up. In the middle of the dream, back into the dream, it's coming towards me, and the only thing that I knew that I had to do with my instincts were telling me was just say Jesus Christ. And so I was saying Jesus Christ, Jesus Christ, Jesus, just over and over and over again. I was panicking, dude, very scared.
Yeah.
And I don't really get scared by a lot, but this was terrifying. And saying those words, kind of developed, it kept a threshold in between it and me. And it pissed it off even more that it couldn't get to me because of the words that I was speaking and the power that's in the name of Jesus Christ. And I woke up. My wife was actually over the top of me, like pushing down on my chest, like not CPR wise, but she's like, "Hey, wake up, wake up!" Like,
this is the middle of the night, or is this in the morning?
Middle of the night. My kid's up now. My family, my wife is like, "What in the world?" And I found it, and I looked at it and I said, "That was a demon." It's just kind of just what I first came out and said. But it took a few days to actually realize that I believe this was the spirit of the divine feminine, of Mystery Babylon.
Yeah.
A part of that satanic, well, not satanic, but a part of that Gnostic trinity, right? Because you have, basically when I dove into Gnosticism and started, researching it and trying to figure it out, there's basically three things that come into play with Gnosticism. It's the Abraxas, which is kind of resembles the Father, right? That's where, in the theological perspective of it, Abraxas is in the pleroma. Pleroma is like the heaven, right?
This is like Abraxas is like the chicken snake god, or like
Yes.
it's depicted as that often.
Yeah, yeah. And this is the research I was going down before this this event took place. And then there's obviously, Abraxas created, the archons. Sophia was one of the, the
Yep.
main archons. Sophia then, Sophia developed or mistakenly gave birth to the demiurge. The demiurge is the god of the Old Testament.
Mm-hmm.
And the demiurge is what established and created our world today. Mm-hmm. And so then Sophia then sends... or Abraxas sends Lucifer down into the earth as the tree of the knowledge of good and evil and breaks us away from the bondage of the demiurge. And this, to me...
there it goes, chicken snake god.
There
and
it is,
the
dude.
demiurge
Don't trust
is...
anything that has serpents in it.
No,
and
yeah.
a chicken head. I don't really know what that is.
Dude, don't trust the chicken at all. I mean,
100%. They're kind of assholes. Roosters, at least. But there's so the demiurge is that thing has a name too. It's like a serpentine body with a lion's head.
Yes.
I forget the name of it, but this is actually something that calls back to an earlier episode of Nephilim Death Squad where we had on Jerry Marzinski and the gentleman who was previously diagnosed bipolar schizophrenic, overcame that in his early 20s by treating it as if it was spiritual warfare. It was something that was happening that was external to his own psychology. And but he did at some point have this vision of what I guess you would call the demiurge coming out of a portal. I don't know if any... Yaldabaoth. Thank you, Johnny Riggs. Good call. Yaldabaoth being this serpentine-bodied, lion-headed demiurge character. So all of this is, this is something that if you're in our field of study, pursuing the truth, you're going to orbit this a number of times throughout the years.
Yeah, and I think the Gnostic religion is nothing more than just what Mystery Babylon was in that time.
Yeah.
It's changed from then. It's obviously gone through a different, multiple stages until it got to Theosophy. Then Theosophy became New Age. And now...
What's the time frame for Mystery Babylon, like in our year? Like when does it start? When does it begin?
I think it's always been here, but what I think happens with Mystery Babylon is I think it needs one more thing contributed to it to now fully encapsulate the world, if that makes any sense.
And you think that thing is the emergence of the divine feminine?
Well, no, I think what I mean by that is where it wants to absorb Christianity or make Christianity the spearhead of Mystery Babylon.
Yeah.
All the other, like I said, all the other religions are in this theosophical plane. They're on the same level. And
they're all the same thing.
They're all the same thing.
Yes.
Now, Christianity is separate from that, and it always has been. But what we're seeing today is, it went from Theosophy to New Age, and now I believe it is what is called, as far as the New Apostolic Reformation, which is a church movement. Which within this church movement, it talks about ecumenicism. Ecumenicism means to combine all of Christianity and to move it up from that separate plane into that theosophical plane. If that makes any sense.
This is where you get like the emergence of things. Well, I mean, I see what the New Age is doing, or what's called the New Age. It's really the Old Age. It's really Babylonian. But there is this effort to popularize. So they've conceded. It's like, Jesus Christ is real, but what you're looking at is the wrong thing. We're talking Christ consciousness. We're talking Jesus Christ being an ascended master, things of that nature, thereby being on the same level as like a Buddha or another character or something like that. So it is this effort to sort of diminish who Christ really is. And then when you do that, you can then fold him into all these other religions. It's all the same stuff.
You guys are on it, man. You guys are on the correct understanding of what's going on with the church today, because what it's doing is it's mixing up the Trinity, and it's blasphemy, right, at the end of the day. And they're making Christ just another prophet.
Another avatar.
Yeah. Right. And then they're actually making the Holy Spirit Sophia. The Holy Spirit today in a lot of churches is very feminine. It's sensual. If you look and you pull up any Bible verses and you type in the word sensual, it'll talk a lot about a familiar spirit.
I wish we had a tool to pull that up.
If only. What do we have? Sword Edge from 1998, whatever it's called. This is something that I see, and this is what upsets a lot of the Catholics who watch the show, because there is a doorway to pulling this off. And the most obvious doorway, in my opinion, comes by way of Catholicism, and that is through the Mother Mary, veneration of the Mother Mary, or of Mother Mary, and basically turning Mother Mary into some aspect of maybe the Trinity or some sort of deity.
The Holy Spirit is masculine, because every time I've heard it in the correct, with the correct gender in church, has always been like, we're welcoming holy. And I like how some people say, like, we will say like the Holy Spirit, but they'll say we'll welcome Holy Spirit in. And it's there's like, if you're talking to the correct person, the inclination around it is that this is a masculine being. And I guess that's somebody who has experienced Holy Spirit.
Now, Christians may disagree with that, and this is what they always point to, is they point to Proverbs 7, 8, and 9, where pretty much wisdom is personified as a woman.
That's interesting.
But here's the thing, it's personified. It's just showing you the characteristics that the Holy Spirit can have, but it doesn't justify or mean that it is a feminine spirit.
Hold on, I want to address something real quick. Prometheus Lens Podcast says you guys are getting a lot of big noise for your
background
information.
noise.
Okay, that's just background noise, right? Okay, that's fine. That's all
the
the home. Yeah, we're in the coffee shop.
Yeah.
That's kind of the charm.
You guys are here
of it.
with us. Come on now.
Yeah, that's people coming in and purchasing fine coffee from this establishment.
What up, Doc?
So yeah, man, it's just part of the thing. But thank you for Doc knows, because he's like he wants a quality control thing, and I see another podcaster say something. I'm like, zoom in on that real quick. What's he saying? So thanks, Doc. But please continue.
Yeah, I think like I said, Satan has infiltrated the church. He's infiltrated, the house of God, and what he's doing is he's moving Christianity up into that plane where the rest of the religions are.
Yeah.
And I think that also follows with what the Bible talks about as the falling away. I think this is the falling away of the church, and you have to have a falling away of the church before the man of sin is revealed. And I think that's what's to take place, because mystery, back to what Top was asking earlier, mystery Babel, what's the timeline? When is this starting? Like, well, it needs one more thing to finally wrap in its plans. It needs Christianity to be a part of it. And if anything, it's probably going to be, like I said, like the spearhead of Mystery Babylon. Now, why I say that is because look at how politics is merging religion with, just the political movement. Obviously, we've beat to death the Charlie Kirk thing.
Well, I mean, it's still super, because I was actually just about to go there. So super relevant.
Well, look at that. Look at the funeral that they had, okay? And this is, to me, this was nothing more than ancient Nimrod, Semiramis, and Tammuz worship.
Was there a funeral, or was it just like a...
I thought it wasn't a concert. It was a concert. I thought it was a System of a Down show. That's
think-
not what that was.
Carrie
No.
Joe was there.
Yeah, no, it was it was surprisingly odd. Yeah, I don't know. They're definitely doing something here. Like, politics is taking religion, exploiting it for their own power.
Well,
So-
Top, I don't know if you could check this out. I just sent it to the NDS production chat, and I think this is going to aid in our conversation here. This is super relevant. And so after the Charlie Kirk thing, we've been talking about this perceived revival of Christianity or something of that nature. And our pastor has been talking about it in the church. So here we have from Fox News, the U.S. is seeing a Christian revival as Bible sales and downloads of religious apps and music surge nationwide. You get a 41% increase in Bible sales, 79% increase in religion and spirituality app downloads, and a 50% increase in contemporary Christian music since 2019. And then you have that one since 2022. So now I wonder about that because we've been talking a lot on this show about the emergence of like Christian nationalism, and you're talking about this transformation about how the average person might perceive Christianity, what it actually means, who Jesus actually was and or is, and so it's a unique time because as people are coming towards Christianity, what version of Christianity are they coming towards?
Exactly, man. And when you actually look, and again, this isn't me saying that some of these people aren't saved, are saved, whatever. This is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is Satan has always infiltrated the things of God. You can see this represented in a lot of different areas of the Bible. So you can't say that that's not true. So whenever we see something like this happening, when we see Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and other players that are exalting Christianity in the ways that they're doing, we know that they're not Christians by the works that they provide and the fruits that they provide, and also the words that come out of their mouth. I mean, you also heard that Trump the other day when he was on Air Force One, he was basically saying, yeah, heaven's here. I'm in heaven. Air Force One's heaven. It's like,
yeah, and he's
this
saying,
guy's
I don't
twisted,
know if I'm
man.
getting into
So-
heaven. And I don't know if it was Matt Gates. I think
But
Top
that's
corrected me.
gnosis. That is gnosis. That's the definition of Gnosticism, is bringing heaven here on earth, which I do think is the road to Shambhala. I do think that is what the Antichrist is preparing to do, is to bring some sort of heavenly realm here. And so with the Charlie Kirk thing and the funeral that took place, people need to understand what was the religion that happened in Babylon. What was it like? Well, there was Nimrod, there was Semiramis, and there was Tammuz. But
Yeah.
Nimrod was the king of Babylon. His god was Marduk. At least this is what scholars say. Marduk has so many traits and characteristics that just show you, with all the other ancient mythologies, that, yeah, that's Satan. Like, that looks like the character Lucifer in the Bible. So Nimrod, the sun god, Semiramis, the moon god, and Tammuz, the god of the stars, what happened was Nimrod died, right? And, Doc writes about, that whole thing in his book. But Nimrod died, and so there was no king to rule the land. And so Semiramis, to show her divine, stature, she came up with this immaculate conception that there was a beam of sun that shined on her and impregnated her. Mm-hmm. And this was just, a miracle that happened, right? Then Tammuz was born from this as the reincarnation of Nimrod. This goes back to ancient Osiris ritual. It's the same thing that we see with Washington, D.C., with the dome, the obelisk. We see it in the Vatican. These people are worshiping Mystery Babylon. And when that took place, Semiramis, she became the queen. She became that idea of Mary. Can you pull up actually the Michelangelo painting of Adam touching God's hand?
Oh, this is the one where God's finger is stretched out,
Right,
and Adam's
right.
finger is kind of lazy, hanging there like he's.
And
not
shout out
making-
to Top. Top's like one of the best producers I've ever seen. This guy's
He's
awesome.
crushing it. Yeah.
Yeah. So in this painting, it kind of shows you who they're actually worshiping, and they only show you a quarter of the picture. And in this photo, there's Adam touching God's hand. That's actually represented as Nimrod. Just to the left of God, there's a female there. That's Semiramis. And then just below Semiramis, you have their son, Tammuz.
Can you make that full screen top?
So you see there how his left arm is wrapped around a female.
Yeah, she's an
And then
adult
the-
female as well.
Yep, and then the female is touching a younger lad.
Oh, that's
down there
fascinating.
just below.
It's weird how there could be like this hyper iconic painting.
Never really paid attention to the yeah, like you usually just look at the finger. Like that's
You
like
look at the finger, and it's also like this thing is supposed to be representative of the brain.
And that's what Satan does, man. He's a mastermind of misdirection.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what it is. Because that red robe thing that's encapsulating them is supposed to be the same shape as the brain, and so there's this idea that like God is within our minds, and you know he's even reaching out through what would be like biologically accurate for where the pineal gland would be. Like there's all kinds of other stuff. Never bothered to look at who he's hanging out with in there.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
There she is right there. And look where his hand is also.
What is that
touching.
thing? Is there something below them that's vomiting green bile? What is this?
So that green sash looking thing I know is supposed to be like another anatomically correct part of the brain. But I don't know what the heck's going on. Is she wearing a crown, or is that just her hair? Could just be her hair.
Oh, and you mentioned the pineal gland, and I think this is also like a deception that is not only getting involved in church today as the as the feeling of the Holy Spirit or the experience of the Holy Spirit. What I mean by that is like speaking in tongues, convulsive shaking in church and stuff like this. Like you have to understand that stuff is like not in the Bible. It's not biblical. If anything, it's Eastern mysticism brought into the church. That stuff is called many different things, but it's basically, the chi, not the chi. The chi is like the energy, right? It's kind of like when you see Dragon Ball Z and they're developing this energy in their hands, and then they're able to distribute it. But this goes back, right, to Nimrod, Semiramis, and Tammuz. Well, what did Nimrod construct, or what did he want to be constructed, and what did he need to do in order to build it? Is he had to unite the world together. He had to unite all the cities into one and under one language, and whatever they imagined to do, it would be possible for them to do if God didn't actually go down there and confuse them and mix up their languages. But I don't think he was necessarily building a Tower of Babel. We get this idea with some imagery online where it's a spiral staircase looking building that goes all the way up, and it's kind of like half broken because God destroyed it, right? But I don't believe it was that. If anything, I think it was just a huge pyramid, because pyramids are actually they're starting to see now, especially scientists and archaeologists, they're kind of starting to see that it had energy properties. It was able to manipulate the sub-physical. And just to kind of like help discern what I'm trying to say here, I'll go through three things. There's the physical realm, which I can see you, I can see that coffee cup, my phone, right? I can objectively see it. I don't need a tool to see it. Then that's the first realm. The second realm is the sub-physical, where I need a microscope, I need an electron microscope, I need something, a tool of the physical to see the sub-physical. Mm-hmm. And which, like red blood cells, organisms, bacteria,
heat spectrums,
molecules, atoms, electrons, stuff like that. And those are the things of our existence. That's what makes up this realm. But there's another realm out there, and that realm is called the metaphysical. And there's actually a barrier that's in between the subphysical and the metaphysical. And so when we see, with the Tower of Babel, I believe it was a pyramid, because when it got destroyed, everyone was confounded of their language. They were confused, and they actually spread out like probably cockroaches. But they all wanted to rebuild what Nimrod was trying, or what he did build, right? And that's why we see pyramids, ziggurats, and all this other stuff everywhere. Mm-hmm. Because what I think Nimrod was doing for them was connecting the metaphysical world, which is the world that we can't see, that exists, it's spiritual, and he was connecting it to manipulate the sub-physical. So real quick, like
as above, so below, sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And
well, isn't that that's a Hermetic principle, and Tammuz is interchangeable with Hermes, right? Or am I getting this mixed up?
No, there's a few connections with Hermes. There's Hermes, there's Thoth, there's Mercury. These are all kind of like equivalent within the different cultures and stuff. This can go back to like Enoch, the evil, right? Gary kind of writes about this and stuff. Basically a messenger that is Well, yeah, it's kind of like it's a messenger that shows you ancient knowledge on how to connect this metaphysical world with the subphysical. Mm-hmm. So, for example, we use the physical realm right now to manipulate the subphysical. And the way we do that is by developing sorcery, pharmakia. And you can see it as a little pill, or it's in a little vial, it's a liquid, or it's, material matter. And we take that, but it actually manipulates the subphysical. It goes all the way down to the microorganism, different receptor sites in the body that you can't see, right? It's actually manipulating it. Well, what a lot of the sorcerers and especially the Egyptians were very good at this. They were very good at taking the metaphysical to manipulate the subphysical, which you can see a lot in today, how the New Age is very... It's very obvious in our world if you don't... it's obvious to me, but what they're doing is they're doing metaphysical practices to try and heal the subphysical. There's Reiki and, so these kinds of things.
I was trying to go... So I was a little under the weather recently, and I was just looking for a sauna.
Go to a Reiki specialist?
Well, so I'm like looking for a sauna.
It might be holistic today, but...
Well,
but there's a again,
I stayed away from it because it's like, I looked at the place and it's like, so there's Reiki, but there's also...
They had all those energy drinks in the front with
all the Kabbalah energy drinks. We got to talk to them. We're like, dude, can we stop doing the Kabbalism where you're putting magic in? So, but yeah, all I wanted to do was go sweat it out, dude. Like I was a little under the weather and I was like, I could use a sauna right now. And I'm looking, and everything is like, yeah, we do sauna, but we also do acupuncture and Reiki, and we're going to align your chakras or whatever. I'm like, dude, I just want to sweat. Like so there is this sort of field of health that's emerging where like I said, I couldn't even find an option to not go into a place like that just to be able to sweat it out. Either that or get a new gym membership at some weird club. But yeah, it's hyper popular right now. And this is all Eastern.
It's mysticism.
It's mysticism, because it's like they call it Eastern, but it's like when you're manipulating, and I don't know if you ever watched these videos, and honestly, it might be worth pulling up. I'll see if I can find a video in a minute of people, allegedly manipulating your energy fields, and the people that are having it happen to them are just like spazzing out and freaking out on the table, and I'm going, that doesn't look right.
That looks to me,
but that's
well, I feel like we see that in church today. Some churches, not all the churches, but where, the guy was like using his coat and he's like smacking people with the coat and they're just like falling into.
Yeah, like Benny.
You know what I'm saying?
I was watching.
Or they're touching a guy and they're transferring their energy to them, and then they get the Kundalini and then they start, shaking and all this.
By the way,
stuff.
shout out David Icke. He gets his visions from ascended Atlantean masters via Kundalini, breakthrough or whatever. And I'm like, all right, dude. Like that guy, I really like him, but
we're gonna have to change the intro at some point.
I know, maybe we will. It's just such a banger. Look, he says, I say a lot of cool things. I say a lot of stupid things. He says a lot of cool things, a lot of stupid things, probably a lot more than me. So it's like, it's not an advocation for the guy that he says something that is.
So I want to ask you guys a question. What do you think the Bible kind of is talking about, or what are your thoughts when God says that anything that they imagined to do, they were going to be able to do, unless He was to come down there and destroy this tower?
Well, it talks about this idea that He's trying to, shoot an arrow at God, which is like, it's a weird thing to interpret. I
think it's like, I have to look up the exact verbiage, but they were trying to invade the heavens.
Right. That's what I was getting at. And it's like, we have all these different, there's a second heaven, there's up to a seventh heaven where God resides. So it's like, there are maybe, and it's a risky thing trying to, adapt today's language to it, but maybe there are these layers. It seems that there are layers, right? To effectively, what is the firmament? God is sat up in the center of it. And that this guy is trying to get everyone together to create something that a lot of people interpret one way or another, almost like a Stargate, like a dimensional doorway, which I'm not opposed to the idea that the tower existed in some form or fashion as being a tall construct, just because there is a significance to high places, physically high places like mountaintops and things like that, as being, like throughout the Bible, places where there is almost like a thinning of the veil takes place. So maybe there's a point to like the elevation of it. Maybe there is a mixture of that with a technological aspect, and you gather all these people together. You're trying to achieve something. You're getting into these heavenly realms where they're not meant for man, right? And God has to stop. So to me, it seems like there was an attempt to permeate a realm that we're not meant to be in, and it seems like you can do that. I mean, you shouldn't do it, but there are ways to alter the fundamental building blocks of this realm, whether it's ceremony or otherwise, and this is what these people are always trying to do. And, with a little bit of technology, a little bit of ceremony, a little bit of whatever we are, right? We have prayer. Prayer seems to be an energy that flows forth from us. It's an energy that these entities covet, right? They want worship from us. They treat it like it's, I forget who says it. It's like a drug. I think Ed Mabry says that. So whatever energy comes forth from us in prayer or worship is massively powerful. They want access to it. So maybe this is an amalgamation of all these different things. What is that? Thank you, Matt. What is that?
Say hi to
Is that Kabbalah
It's
juice?
Kabbalah. I was going to say it's Kabbalah.
I invited myself on a biblical hitman.
Did you really?
Steven said I could go, though.
Is that true?
Yeah.
You're going to let him come on your show?
Yes.
That's a mistake.
Huge mistake.
Huge mistake. All right. No, I'm fine. Thank you, Matt. But yeah, so all of that word salad to say that it seems like they were trying to get into these heavenly realms. And so when God is saying whatever they hope to achieve, they could achieve,
Well,
what higher thing could you be trying to achieve than to break out of here and get to a place where you don't belong?
yeah, so the scripture says that now nothing will be restrained from them, which I don't know. There it
That's
is.
terrifying, right?
Nothing will be restrained from them,
That is terrifying.
That's
yeah,
terrifying.
yeah.
which they have imagined to do.
And I think so. Still reserved. Shout out, man. He brings up CERN. CERN is trying to what they're trying to do is,
like
I said, like they're manipulating the subphysical to get into the metaphysical, or to open up that, or to break through that doorway that is in between the subphysical and the metaphysical. And it's so funny because you mentioned this, right? You said that, Nimrod, possibly trying to use some sort of technology, which I think that's what the pyramid was, to try and break through that threshold to
Right.
get into the metaphysical. And because what you see with the occult is that they're using the metaphysical through rituals, powers, sorcery, witchcraft, magic, specifically magic most of the time. They're bringing in the energy and the powers from the metaphysical to manipulate the subphysical, which then in turn manipulates the physical. You think about the concept of opening up a portal.
Well,
That's how I think this stuff's going down.
That's what I think. Yeah.
I see when I read this, a lot of people, I forget who it was, but I may be in like my actual real life, not on the podcast. But I'm like,
What is that? Is that like a coffee thing?
Oh no, it's delicious.
Is it a coffee thing or is it like a
It's
fruit
coffee.
thing?
It's
a
coffee.
coffee thing.
standard coffee shop,
Maybe I'll
coffee
give you a
shop and
frappe.
library.
Yeah, but if it's this small, it's got to be like super dang.
It's probably going to be. I'm going to get one. I'm going to ask.
So yeah, people in my real life, when I talk about the Tower of Babel, because I kind of understand what it is, and when you do read the scripture here, you go, it's just interesting that God stopped them, like actively stopped them. It wasn't like I'll send them I'll do a thing, I'll send a prophet, it's like
I'll send a strong delusion. I'll send confusion. I'll send
yeah, but like
scales over their eyes.
This is almost like, no, he's saying like, and the people is one, and they all have one language, and this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. And he's like, this has to stop. So what if they succeeded?
What would they
What are the
achieve?
implications of that? Like, can you invade the heavens? And if you do get there, is this a problem for God?
Well,
like,
I mean, this is the same thing, right? So we're looking at CERN
but
and
this
what
is
they're
also
doing.
this is like heresy, I guess, because God is all powerful. But I'm like, God seemed pretty concerned here. He's like, yo, that's far enough.
Yeah. And it's all so everything is on God's time. It's like we're not meant to be in this sort of a thing. Maybe there's a time where we are or something like that, but that certainly wasn't it. And
You
if
ever let
look
your
at-
kid play around with something like something they're not supposed
and then
to?
you go, oh man,
and then they've gone like they're actually getting a little close.
I got to take that away now.
Yeah, and it's like that's that
Yeah.
because you could actually hurt me now.
Yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, you look at that with CERN, and then you look at the SpaceX launches, and you're like, dude, it looks like they're just smashing craft against the firmament. Like that's really what it looks like to me, is that they're just smashing things against the firmament. Like it looks like, I remember seeing a comparison of a SpaceX launch next to a boat, a speedboat from a top-down view on an ocean. It looks the same. It looks like something skidding across water, and you'll see it. It looks like it smashes against it, and then comes back down, and it's like another failed attempt to puncture the firmament. I think we're still doing the same thing.
Yeah, and I think too, when you merge the metaphysical with the subphysical, and then with the physical, I think that you're giving mankind the power of gods, and I think if God didn't go and destroy that and that agenda that they were actually trying to do, I don't necessarily think they could have beat. I don't think they could have beat God in any kind of war or whatever.
No, definitely. I mean, he just stopped it.
Yeah, and I think it was because
now you're confused.
If they were going to do that, it was going to disrupt the bloodline that Christ was to come into.
That's
right?
what it feels like. Yeah, so
which would be the church today, right? Like believers.
They got close.
Yeah, grafted onto the vine.
Right.
This is probably the closest they got.
Yeah.
To disrupting. He's like, not that.
It makes you wonder, how. I mean, we have all this wonderful technology. We're talking to these people. We're in high definition, yada yada. But we're not threatening to enter the seventh heaven. You know what I mean? Like, what did you guys have? What was going on then that these people had access to? I'm realizing though, we have given poor people far too much show. Nothing brings me greater disdain than to have accidentally done that. Guys, if you're still watching, patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad is where you're going to want to continue watching.
If you're still watching, go to the Patreon and finish the episode now. There's a free trial.
There is a free trial.
So just go and
Or
do
if you
that.
want to donate 5 figures and you're from Guam, I mean, you could do that
Okay,
too.
with the-
All right, I'm sorry. I just said a thing. Guys, patreon.com/Nephilim Death Squad. Otherwise, goodbye to Rumble, goodbye to YouTube, goodbye to Twitter. We'll see you guys next week when it comes out for free. All right, so I don't know. That's just where my head goes. It's
Kind of wanted that thing. I threw it now.
now you don't have it. Now I have one, and you don't have one. But what sort of technology were we toting around? We had what's the guy's name from Kingdom in Context? Sean, and we're talking about Vimanas and different things like that. If you look into speaking of Eastern mysticism or whatever India had and the whole Vedic belief system.
It's very hard. I mean, I love the episode, but anytime we talk about like
what
technology India has, you're like,
you know what? It's remarkable to me because they have fallen in such a tremendous way that I go, maybe they did. Like they look like a people who fell from a tremendous height.
yeah, they do.
You know what I mean? And it's like maybe they did have Vimanas. Maybe they did have flying bell-shaped craft. Maybe they had flying cities. I mean, look at
Cities
this,
in the
right?
sky and-
Ziggurats in the sky.
And that's what's possible with, manipulating the metaphysical realm.
It's also what's possible when everybody speaks the same language and works together to the same goal.
Yeah, but now they're all just shitting in the street.
Well, I mean, that's what happens when you fall from a Vimana in the sky. You smash against the ground pretty hard, and then you go, I think I'll poop here.
Somebody asked that to Ed the other day. They're like, what's up with India? How come India's like so jacked up? And he's like, yo, mad gods. And it's
Yes.
Yes and no.
Well,
right?
mad gods in the sense of like they're all. So we've talked about it before. When one god
Mad gods, yo.
Give mad gods, bro. When one lowercase g god has filled it, all of the people that it can to worship it. Where does it get more worship? It goes and wages war against another god, kills that one, and then co-ops those people to get more and more worship. So they're just boom, ba boom, ba boom, ba boom, blapping each other left and right until they're all one big mess. And then what are they ultimately bending the knee to? Some 6-armed thing that's eating the people, and
Dude, it's even like more wacky than that. I was listening to a story of somebody that they were in India doing emissions, and they were in a certain part where they were like, oh, the deity of this part is like the god of car crashes.
The god of car crashes.
Yeah, and then he's like, we got into a car crash. Everyone's driving like a madman here. And I was like, so just on these couple of blocks, it was like, there's a god of car crashes. Like, what?
They're just because they're still there. They're just
So
getting like whatever they
counterintuitive.
can. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
it's-
They're like, just give me the car crashes.
just give me those hamburgers, man. It's like,
I'm the god of food cooked with bare hands and feet. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like there's not a lot left there.
god
to
of
get.
diarrhea is really just
He's crushing
flossing.
right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I think what you're looking at there are, I think, in a lot of ways, the Vedic belief system is one of the ones you can turn and look to that still is a pretty accurate echo of that Babylonian magic system and all of those different lowercase g gods. And, you know, you judge a thing by the fruit that it bears, and they're not doing good.
Well, they're all about, harnessing that energy.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with the Kundalini, right? That starts from like your pelvis and it works your way up like a serpentine. Like a serpent until it gets to your pineal gland, it puts pressure on it, and then boom, you're fully like in Kundalini. That energy, that spirit that's there. And I think that that's the spirit of the world. And I think the church is calling, I mean, I'm not saying all the churches, but there are churches out there that are even talking about the faith or the Holy Spirit as this force, which is nothing more than kind of rebranding it in a certain way, just with a Christian lens.
Well, that's something that I'm not too, like, how would you define the Holy Spirit accurately? Because all I know is, like, I think that there's a spirit that guides me, that nudges me when I'm doing the wrong thing, that can enlighten me, but it's never in a way that's like guiding me towards, Kabbalism or anything like that. But it's like sometimes I know a thing that I don't know, or sometimes I feel calm in the presence of something that has me, even though I'm kind of wrapped up in a wild situation. But to try and then further define that is very difficult.
Well, I mean, Mystery Babylonian spirit, that divine feminine, it's where it is very positive. It's very sensual. It's very
it's like it's very sexy spirit,
and it brings in like unity. You know what I'm saying? It's where like, it's all right. We can all get along, even though we're different. We can all get along. It's like when the Christian church is actually
Just heard that from
receptive to the Catholic Church. It's like, no, we're different. Yeah, we
have like a LGBTQ pastor.
Stuff like that. I mean, what I'm getting to is I think there's two things to be aware of with Mystery Babylonian religion, and this is the two things that it preaches. It preaches unity and it preaches balance. And so when these two ideas, float across your spectrum of your brain, with whatever it is that's out there in the world, understand that there's a spirit behind it that is a familiar spirit. It's a mimic of God's Holy Spirit in the church in some areas. So it's a discerning thing. If you don't know the Word of God and you don't know the fruits of the Holy Spirit, then necessarily you could be, brought into this. I mean, I came from a mega church, down in South Florida, it's the biggest church in Florida, actually. They have millions of people. They've got satellite churches everywhere. And, this church really preached a lot about prosperity and, positivity, and that basically you're free from sin and that you don't have to, the law is dead. And if you think of that, I don't think that, even though some scriptures may kind of like allude to that, we're still called to be obedient, and we're still called to follow the commandments, right? If you love God, you're going to follow the commandments. You're going to try and be obedient. The Holy Spirit is something that is holy. The Holy Spirit wants you to live in righteousness. So what I'm getting with that is where, let's go back to the garden, right? We're talking about the serpent that was some sort of the avatar of the avatara to the tree of knowledge of good and evil. There's some sort of relationship between these two, and it came after the woman. And it actually told the woman, surely you shall not die, and you could be as gods. Just disobey God and eat this fruit. People say apple. It just says fruit. And that's the same thing. That, there is a spirit out there, Mystery Babylon religion, where it wants you to not be under bondage. It wants you to be free. It wants you to do what thou wilt.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
That's actually where it gets really strange within politics, the Libertarian Party, or even this concept of like, don't tread on me, and then it's like a serpent, but it's like, Jesus gave us the authority to tread on scorpions and serpents. It's like a really interesting thing because it's all about liberty, liberation. The same thing with the feminist movement. It's liberation, right? It's freedom, but freedom from what? Ultimately, it's like there's no cap on these things. And if you follow it to its logical conclusion, it's almost always like liberation from God, liberation from restraint, and then, do what thou will.
That's
it's the same
Gnosticism.
thing to like live and let live, right? Is like kind of interesting. I'm not saying that you should encroach on people, but I'm saying you should look at that principle.
Right.
If that's your guiding principle, live and let live, is so similar to do what thou will. It's a very interesting kind of concept.
I
And
mean, look at New York, right? New York City, known
Yeah.
as the Big Apple, right? So we can see some sort of like cryptic connection with maybe something that took place in the garden. You could see that with,
Yeah, why the hell is it the
iPhones.
Big Apple? I've never
Yeah.
even thought about that.
Well, I think it's because Lucifer sits as a statue just south.
right. So I mean,
Just
Maybe.
could be. I'm just
Well,
speculating.
and
here.
guess what? Like that statue is called Lady Liberty. It is a female.
Yep.
Right. And I think that where the divine goddess connects to Lucifer is not only there at the statue. I think that's pretty obvious because it not only is it kind of like androgynous with its forearm that's more jacked than mine,
Yeah.
and plus the face is like a
Just
very
saying, chiseled.
You want to
Yeah.
hear? You want to hear the reason why it's called the Big
Oh,
Apple?
it's gonna be it's gonna be such bullshit.
I'm just gonna say this is just complete horseshit, literal horseshit.
yeah.
It's called that because the term was popularized in the 1920s by a horse racing writer, John J. Fitzgerald, who overheard an African American stable hand referring to New York's racetracks as the Big Apple.
Bullshit.
It's just like
It's just a convoluted nonsense story.
we got to be careful.
angel of light,
Yeah.
so they can masquerade as these things. Back to the Lady Liberty thing. I mean, she's got a crown on her head, and there's 7 spikes in it.
Yeah.
So, with the crown connected to her head, that crown is also showing you that that is a divine goddess as well. That's just like when you see in the Catholic Church the statues of Mother Mary. Mother Mary is actually wearing the crown, and in those same statues, she's also holding baby Jesus. He does not have a crown, and we know he is the King of Kings. So that just doesn't really make sense. And that's Semiramis and Tammuz worship.
It is an
right
interesting thing too, because when they show Mother Mary, they infantilize Jesus,
yes.
infantilize, and that changes the power structure, because then Mother Mary is the dominating protector, maternal figure. Jesus is incapable. He's infantilized. So I think that's an interesting image to constantly be showing.
And how about this too? Like at the bottom, well, if you actually look at an aerial view, satellite view of the Statue of Liberty, you can see that it's an Ishtar star underneath it, right? So
Yep.
that's another feminine goddess thing. Also, at the bottom of the leg of Lady Liberty, there's a chain that's attached, but it's also broken, right? So, and again, some little seasonists allude to that. This is when Satan was released out of the pit. But I think that that symbolizes and that means that, yep, there you go, there's star Ishtar.
Yep. And that is the 8-pointed star, to be specific, which is like you see that everywhere.
It's a very specific star.
Yep, 8-pointed star. I mean, this is something that I've been pointing out a lot lately when it comes to witch talk, which I think this divine feminine, it takes multiple faces, right? It's a Lilith thing, it's a Hecate thing, it's a Sophia thing. All these entities are interchangeable, but you'll see their symbolism everywhere. The one that we've been on a lot lately is hyper popularized. You see chicks with this tattoo all the time. You see it on bumper stickers. People don't even know what it means, but it's a triple moon. It's a crescent moon, full moon, crescent moon. It represents the stages of effectively the witch's life cycle, right? So you have the maiden, the mother, and the crone. And this symbol is everywhere. You see it in bands. You see it, and like I said, witch talk is a thing right now. Been a thing for a while, but TikTok is rampant with these how-to kind of what would you call it, like a not a directive, but it's how to engage in witchcraft, how to pull off this spell, how to pull off that spell. And it's like it's just out there for kids. Like it's paganism, but it's like paganism for dummies, and it's being presented through TikTok at scale, in mass. And so this is what I'm saying, things like, if that L. Ron Hubbard, Jack Parsons ritual was real, which I'm pretty sure it was real. It seems like it was real, but I mean, you kind of give those things a little bit of a buffer. Maybe it's just sensationalized. They went out into the desert. They did these workings, Babylon workings, to summon in this spirit of Babylon from Thelema. And this is a divine feminine spirit. This is ushering in the divine feminine. Then you look at the fruits that it may have bore, which is what we're sitting in today. And it's everywhere, dude. It is everywhere. I mean, we've popularized witchcraft in a way that, like, it's kind of silly. The previous generations, like, you know, you have like the satanic panic thing, and that bleeds over into like when we're younger, and you have Harry Potter, and you have all these old people going like, no, that's like Satanism, that's witchcraft, that's all this, and then, you know, people are going, oh no, you're being hyperbolic, it's just fun. And then you look at what it's done and what it's popularized. It kicks the door open for witch talk, you know, for all these different things, for actual practitioners to be out in the open and be totally unafraid of any kind of persecution. I'm not saying you should persecute them, maybe you should, but I'm not saying that. I'm just saying they're not doing it anymore in their basements. They're doing it to the tune of millions of followers and subscribers.
Yeah, man. You know what's interesting too? How I believe it. I forget where it is. It's in Isaiah, right? But it's the only place that Lucifer is mentioned in the Bible. At least King James version. I don't know the other versions. I don't really read the other versions. But King James version, Lucifer is represented in Isaiah. And another thing that links to the divine feminine with Lucifer. And again, this kind of goes back and forth with some people's perspective of Lucifer, Satan, the devil. They don't know if it's either a group of these entities or angels or if it's one specific thing. But I think it's more or less one specific being, because when in Job it talks about, you know, Satan came up from the earth, you know, amongst the angels and was conversating with God. It was singular in that instance. But then, you know, does it change throughout? Anyways, that's a whole nother rabbit hole. But in Isaiah it says, you know, O Lucifer, son of the morning. You know, and the son of the morning actually is the planet Venus. It is the star just off the horizon as the sun is rising, which actually the Sphinx is pointing at.
And Venus is the planet that's associated with Ishtar.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's just the Roman. That's what the Romans called it, was Venus. Yeah. And so, which is so funny, right? Because the Jesuits, they're the ones that run our cosmology and tell us what to believe about it and stuff like that. And I
Shout out to the Jesuits.
Yeah, Jesuits. They're like the scientific division of the Catholic Church.
Mm-hmm.
Super weird people. But, you know, that's where there's another connection with the femininity and Lucifer. You know, and I think why there's so much feminism with this spirit behind Lucifer, Satan, the devil, is because it's nothing but blasphemy against the Holy Spirit. It's like imagine the serpent in the garden talking to Eve, talking to Adam, and they're constantly going, no, like, your religion is wrong, this is the truth. And then, you know, Eve got seduced at some point, and they did what they did. Some people, you know, go down the serpent seed road, or some people go down, no, this was a supernatural event to where we became de-evolutionized after that. Our DNA changed because we ate from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, all this kind of stuff. But I think there was a battle for what the truth was, because you had the tree of life, and then you had the tree of knowledge and good and evil. And I think that the serpent was constantly trying to exalt his religion over the truth. And I think that, you know, Cain took that and ran with that, built cities, had his lineage, Enoch, Lamech, and so on and so forth. And that's where they were preaching this mysticism, this religion of the serpent, which then in result created Mystery Babylon. And then this is now just the two ultimate religions in the world. You've got truth, and then you have error, if that makes any sense.
Right.
You know, and it's coming full circle. You know, the Nimrod thing is coming full circle with the end, because the Eastern mystic religions, they believe in what's called the Maitreya. And so you have they believe that Jesus was this Christ, that he was a prophet, and that after Christ you had Buddha. And then after Buddha, you're going to have what's called the Maitreya. And Alice Bailey talks about the Maitreya. Serge Manosk, the guy who is the guy known for Project Bluebeam, he's talked about the Maitreya.
It's basically a word for mother, right? Like
like
matriarch.
world teacher.
Yeah.
Like world teacher. And what's so funny is Maitreya is, he runs this kingdom, this heavenly kingdom that they say is geographically real, and that there's a location on earth about it, but it's not. It's a mystical world, and it's called Shambhala.
Yeah.
And Shambhala, and so when this teacher comes here, I think he's going to be a master of the occult, or he's just going to have supernatural powers using the metaphysical world to manipulate the physical world. And that he's going to, there's going to be signs from the heavens. There's going to be fire sent from earth. There's going to be healings. It's going to be crazy, dude. I mean, the whole world's going to go, oh my gosh, this is Christ.
Yeah.
And I think Satan's going to come possibly as Jesus Christ, or maybe claim to be Jesus Christ. I mean, how else is the church going to fall away?
Yeah.
We're going to need to actually study up more on this because, John Lenhart and that other dude they're going to come on and they want to talk about Buddhism through some weird lens. And I'm like,
admittedly, I've been like hesitant about that because I'm like, this is the same thing we had like Beck Lover on. It's like, I really enjoyed Beck, but I don't know anything about Islam. And so, my ability to give pushback where it's appropriate just doesn't exist because of my lack of education on the matter. The same thing goes for Buddhism. It's like we're going to have a guy on to talk about Buddhism.
yeah, I'm a little more comfortable with Islam because I understand the tenets, but Buddhism I don't know anything about.
Right, and it's like we had Sean from Kingdom in Context. He's like, Buddha is the 9th incarnation of Vishnu. Vishnu is basically like the destroyer or something like that. And I'm like,
Right.
That's fascinating. I don't know how true that is. It's really interesting to kind of mull around in your mind. But now we're going to have this guy who's like, let me tell you why the 9th incarnation of Vishnu is pretty based.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, dude. I don't know. So, but I mean, it's just the nature of doing this show and being an idiot is that I can't navigate these things. And
I will say though, like as far as like, I don't know, sometimes when I look at the people that follow Islam, I'm like, these people, some of them seem like great people. Some of them seem a little bit angry. The people that follow Hinduism,
yeah,
some
the
of them are
tenets
nice people.
of Hinduism are like
some of them are kind of like weirdos. The Buddhists that I know seem like kind of like decent people.
I feel like all the Buddhists that I know are white people, which is weird. Like I don't know any Tibetan people. You know what I'm saying?
No,
like,
I know a couple from like what's the land between India and China? They're
the
Buddhist.
Grundle.
The
or
Grundle.
the
No.
Gooch.
I forget the name of it. Myanmar, but I think they had to change their name. It's a beautiful place. I know a bunch of people from there. Great people, like solid people, good families. I know nothing about the religion, and now I got to do a freaking deep dive.
Well,
on it.
you know what I have?
Thanks.
I have an issue with this idea of like emptying your vessel by way of meditation, and then it's like in order to accommodate what? I don't know. It's a hard one for me. But then you have all this idea about like what was Jesus doing between the ages of this and this? Was he studying and he was in Egypt, but did he go to Tibet? Like people think that he went to Tibet.
I wanted to bring that up to Stephen. So we're talking about Mystery Babylon, and the first place that Jesus goes, I'd say by his own will, I guess, because he's God, is Egypt. Like right out of Bethlehem into Egypt. And it's like, what the hell happened there? He's there for a couple of years, but why there? Like in the midst of the birthplace of Mystery Babylon, where all this weird stuff has been going on, probably still going on. What's that about?
I've heard some different back and forths on this idea, and I actually listened to a guy who made a good point, and he actually conducted the time frame of how long it would have taken Jesus with the transportation that they had back in those days to get to Egypt within the time frame that was said that he was there and all this kind of stuff. And this gentleman claims that it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up, the fact that this is where he went and then this is where, how this is when he dwelt there for this long and then this is where he came back and all that kind of stuff. I'm not like too well versed in it, but I have heard something as just doesn't kind of add up. And it seems like it could just be that counter narrative to, or they're just, obviously that spirit of the world is kind of using that
right
to discredit the divinity of Christ. And I think that that's what all the religions do is they believe Jesus, was real. And they think what he did was, there's things to it. It's just, he's not God.
Right.
And I think that that's fallen angel narrative. I think that's fallen angel agenda, if that makes any sense.
I mean, it's, I think this is why repeatedly we're told to lean not on our own understanding. And it's because, like, even if we had all the information, would we understand? Or were we given what would serve as an appropriate guiding mechanism for us to keep us pointed in the right direction? I don't know. I look at a lot of people who think they have it all figured out, especially when you deal with people within these, like, kind of mysticism corners, like people that are steeped in the occult.
Wait, so what are you saying, that you don't think he ever went there?
No, I don't. I'm not well versed in it, but I think that the Gnostics promote that idea.
That
you know what I'm saying?
He was picking up knowledge from there. But
Knowledge
in
from there
Egypt and all
that
this
kind of
other
stuff,
crap.
yeah.
No, I mean, I think that's retarded, because if he was there, he wasn't there long enough to probably even grasp the English language.
And another thing too that I heard with this story,
Or the English language.
Well, what I'm
Egyptian
saying
language?
is pretty much like, it's possible that whole story is all fabricated and made up. Now, I heard another gentleman, a Jewish
No, that's
scholar.
scriptural, though. That's like, Matthew talks about him, like the angel comes and says, hey, you got to go to Egypt. And Joseph's like, yeah, let's go there.
Okay.
But what he did there is like, all right.
There was a Jewish scholar that was, and he's a Christian guy, but he's a Jew. So I have to specify that. Sorry. But he was saying, but pretty much as a Jew in that time, you couldn't necessarily, it was against the religion to leave those areas, if that makes any sense. And again, I'm probably not correct.
Yeah, even
on
if
some
they're
of this
trying to
stuff,
kill you,
but-
though, but then there's a prophecy of in the book of Hosea where he's like, I'm going to bring my son out of Egypt, and that's foretold. So he does go there. He comes out of there. It's just like the significance of it is, I just don't understand the reasoning for doing that.
There's probably an answer out there, that makes sense.
Well, that's the problem, though, is because a lot of the answers come from, like, these non-canonical Jewish texts that came out, hundreds of years later about what happened during that time, and you don't have any way of knowing. But that is what these sort of Gnostic occult enjoyers base a lot of their ideology off of. And these people they get like combative. You know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, you haven't even read these non-canonical Jewish texts, so how do you know X, Y, and Z? And I'm like, dude, how do you know? Like, how do you know what you're reading? I mean, it strikes me that the same way you have a lot of this Immaculate Conception emulation within all these other religions, right? Is the same way, because we look at that in sort of like the Gary Wayne or L.A. Marzulli light, where, or even Ed maybe puts it really well, they knew of the prophecy. They didn't know how it was going to end. They thought that they, stopped it by crucifying Christ. They knew he was coming, and so they would emulate that in a lot of their own deities, lowercase g gods. If you knew that was coming, then wouldn't you go through great lengths to muddy the waters with all these different texts? And so knowing that, and then watching these like occultists and Gnostics base so much of their belief system, and then they have like a pride about the knowledge that they have. I'm like, I don't even know if that knowledge is valid at all. But they go, well, because you haven't read this obscure Jewish text, then thereby you're clearly wrong, and you're just subscribing to whatever mainstream Christianity tells you to subscribe to. So
weren't the Gnostic texts, weren't they found in Egypt? I believe they might have been found in Egypt.
I don't know. I mean, I know there's also
like the Gospel of Thomas, or there's a few other Gnostic Gospels. Maybe Mary's one of them.
Let me see real
Barabbas or Barnabas or whatever it's called.
Yeah, they were found in the Nag Hammadi Library in 1945.
Okay, gotcha. And this is the thing too. Like, I think that Gnostics infiltrated Christianity, and that's where they get the idea of this feminine Sophia, right? Sophia being the love of Sophia philosophy, right? This is the Greek interpretation of it, where this is the divine feminine, and that Christ was sent as a teacher, but to try and guide us into this spirituality, if that makes any sense, rather than
and when you talk about Satan basically coming as Christ, if we're to have this consolidation of the church under a new world religion and this falling away and everybody falling for the Antichrist, it's not going to be obvious. And that's like my big fear going into this. Like what we're going to be served up is something that's going to be well disguised. And even kind of probably like you could rationally work your way through it. So in other words, like when we did this show really early on, we had a guy on named Mika Dank, and I really enjoy Mika. I think he's just come to the wrong conclusion, obviously, because we deviate on our ideologies pretty significantly from him. But he thinks that Christ is really an algorithm for a series of things, very zeitgeisty. Although I'm sure he would push back against that. It's probably reductive in his opinion, but. It's a metaphor, an analogy for these systems, and these systems are like star systems. The way that the sun moves across the sky and then rests on the celestial crux for 3 days, and then is resurrected, and the days become longer after this summer solstice or whatever it is, or the spring, whatever. And then he talks about how through a meditative process, much like Kundalini, right, you can have this awakening. But what Kundalini describes as like this serpent moving up your spine is actually, or moving up through your chakras or whatever the hell it is actually an oil that is secreted by your spine, your 33 vertebrae in your spine, which is why Christ lived to 33 years old. And you can meditate and migrate this to your pineal gland and have this Kundalini awakening and become as Christ.
Well, it's like they're trying to make up a whole different kind of gospel.
Dude, it's like
it's
they're
a
going
totally
through
different
like
gospel than what the Bible talks about, and they're merging it in with the familiarity of the world.
Yeah.
So that the world can adapt to this as well, And so, for example, like if we consider, this, because even the Islamic religion, right, they believe that Christ is to come back before the Mahdi, right? Like he's to kind of pave the way for the Mahdi. And the Mahdi would be like that world teacher, that Maitreya, that Antichrist.
Does the Maitreya have to necessarily be feminine?
Well, what's funny too is I believe it's Daniel where it kind of describes this
Just
man of
read
sin,
that. Yeah.
where it talks about that he will have no desire for women, right?
Yeah.
oh, he gonna be
Wait up, no, I got to bring that up. We're going to bring up that scripture exactly because that's whoa. All right.
And there's another thing too. I'll have to find it through a text message I sent someone here. There's a verse where it also talks about the right eye is darkened of, pertaining to this Antichrist figure. And if you remember in the movie Avengers, what happened to Thor's eye?
Oh yeah, he was
It was his right eye was darkened, was taken out.
similar to like the Odin thing.
And who was the ultimate guy who stood up to Thanos? It was Thor.
Right.
Thor actually, when he came back in that Avengers 2, with Thanos and stuff, where he actually came back with that certain type of weapon he had, and it's lightning. It's like lightning fell from heaven.
Yeah.
and and he finished off Thanos, right? And he cut his head off and this kind of stuff. All the entertainment movies are pointing us in the direction that this Maitreya is going to come here and is going to basically say that there is this other God that is a bad God that's out there, and
Right.
that we need to all unite and come together. All, like I was saying earlier, it's a full circle from what happened at the Tower of Babel. We'll circle again back around in Revelation. The world's going to unite. It's going to be balanced. Everyone's going to be harvesting, manipulating this divine energy that is, maybe even making us eternal or not have the sting of death anymore.
Right.
And I think that's why they're coming out with these technologies. Because what did I say, right? The physical can manipulate sub-physical with technology or with, whatever you can develop in the physical. Well, what I think they're trying to do is create a technology to where now the metaphysical can now come into the physical.
Yeah, I mean, I think I suspect that's a lot of what, sometimes I wonder if it's as simple as these entities want rights over our flesh, right? They want to possess us in one way or another, but they can be casted out through repentance and through Jesus Christ. But what happens when they have a symbiotic relationship with technology, it seems, right? These spirits. whether they're entrapped in like microchips via sigils or something like that, which is what a lot of people speculate. It seems there is a relationship between the spiritual realm and technology. What happens when you put that technology in your body? So if you're going to get a Neuralink, and this Neuralink is now embedded into your brain, well, maybe they don't have rights over your body and can be casted out. But what happens if they are in the technology and the technology is embedded in your body? Well, is there much more of a problem than casting them out?
Listen to this. Oh my gosh, I'm going to blow your mind a little bit. Let's go. Everyone strap in.
All right.
So you guys are familiar with the movie Lucy, right?
Yeah, so
With
Scarlett
Johansson?
Johansson, she's like
where she's an AI or something.
I think
like that?
is that what it is? She's
Well-
an AI. I
Oh,
thought she
sorry,
did like a
look,
bunch of
Just to track back before you do it,
Yeah.
Daniel 11:37. Neither shall he regard the gods of his father, nor the desires of woman, nor regard any god. He shall magnify himself above all. That's actually very interesting. So when you're talking about this feminine idea, it doesn't necessarily have to be female. It could be
Lucifer's.
female.
Exactly. All right.
You know, and if you could look this up, look up the Black Madonna and then look up the Hindu god Kali.
The Black
Kali.
Madonna, is this the thing that was on the back of P. Diddy?
What's Elazudanta or something
Yeah,
like that?
who looks
but it's
like-
it's the same thing.
Yeah, Eliazu Danter, whatever. It's like this whole mural on P. Diddy's back, and it's actually a voodoo goddess that, you know, is interchangeable with the imagery of Mother Mary, so it looks just like Mother Mary. At first glance,
Yes.
you think that he's got this big Mother Mary mural on his back, and it's like, no, he's got a voodoo goddess on his back.
I even believe the Knights Templar at some point had this a part of their worship. I think the Knights Templars were magicians and stuff like that,
Oh,
in
yeah.
my opinion. Yeah, and they were doing all kinds of crazy stuff.
Here we go. So we have this imagery here of...
And this has nothing to do with race, by the way.
all right. Because we were about to make it about it. We were this. Thank goodness you said it, because here we were about to. Go ahead. What are we looking at?
And then look up Kali, which would be the
Kali is the Hindu goddess of like destruction, or
No,
Oh,
it's this
car
female.
crashes.
It's this female goddess where it has fully harvested and exploited the energy, and what it does. Same thing with the Black Madonna here and the Kali, is that
yeah, there you go.
and there's a lot of pictures that show like a dark pigmentation. Well, you can see, right? You can just see that this change in skin color.
Oh
for
yeah,
example.
for sure.
And this is where you now have become a god. And with the Black Madonna, right, that's the divine feminine, is showing you that when you harvest this amount of energy to a certain point, when you've really hit the 100% potential full max on this harvesting of the energy, you actually, your skin will turn black.
Oh, that's
now, from the
fascinating.
movie Lucy, right? And this is why I think technology is going to bring us into this age and bring us into this whole idea. I think it's really going to bring in the metaphysical world to where it'll allow humans to manifest this energy and to hold it and to perfect it, making us gods, if that makes any sense. So in the movie Lucy, she became a drug mule pretty much, and she was captured by the triad, and they cut her open and they put this drug inside of her.
Yeah,
so the
that's
concept is
right.
basically that they put something inside of you. The bag, for some reason it broke open and it got into her cellular structure and into her circulation, and it became a part of her. And throughout the whole entire movie, there's a progression with the stages of the chakra, okay, throughout the whole movie. The movie's broken down kind of like into chapters, but it shows you a percent of her moving towards what's called singularity. And so throughout the whole movie, she's going from using 10% of her brain to 15 to 25 to 40, 60, 80, whatever. And when she finally gets towards the end of the movie, when she reaches full ultimate consciousness, energy, she's using 100% of her brain, what happens to her skin? It starts turning black, and it starts coming from the top of her forehead down and from the bottom of her feet up, and it meets actually at her eyes. And when it fully wraps around her body, with this black goo, the black goo,
It's
right?
always a black goo.
So she literally turned black, and then what happened to her? She disappeared. She disappeared and she became omniscient. She became
That's right.
like,
Yeah.
a
She
part
becomes
of the universe.
omnipotent. Right.
Yep.
Huh.
So,
Very interesting.
Something interesting with all that. I think there's something to it as far as the Eastern mysticism, and technology. I think that's the play behind the scenes here. I think that is this what they want the world to inherit, or is this where they want the world to go? And are they doing it through a facade, like a fake advertisement? For example, a digital ID.
This is
like, are they, you know what I'm saying?
This is. I'm going to see if I can get
And
this.
it's black. She becomes just one big black goo.
This
dude.
thing, right?
Yes.
Interesting too, because if you look at it, I want to see if I can send this to the. I'll send the link to the chat top.
By the way, that's a pentagram.
It's a pentagram. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's also a doorway. Doorways representing portals. So there's something there. Hold on a second. Let's please.
So you mentioned pentagram. So
Yeah.
the connection with this and the pentagram, because I did a dive down alchemy, and alchemy actually goes back to the pentagram because the pentagram actually explains the 4 elements of creation, air, earth, fire, water.
Yeah.
And the circle that wraps around the pentagram is called the ether. And
I just want to show the audience this. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're talking about. It's funny too because every. By the way, quick update: the Panamanian parasite. It was like a thing. Remember, I said I thought it was like a promo for a movie. So he wasn't making a movie, but he made like the technology. It's like a little, it's just a little like. So it wasn't CG. It was a real little thing, but he just covered it in some black goo, and it was just like a simple machine that kind of like wiggled back and forth. And the guy later on revealed it. So I don't know if he was doing a promo for something, but it's funny because the reason I was watching the Panama meteorite alien thing is because it was like a black goo. And the black goo is constantly showing itself. You could look at, let's say, like a deliverance, right? And people will like vomit up a black goo sometimes in a deliverance. Or you'll see like a witch doctor remove a spirit from somebody and they will pull out of them some sort of a black goo. Sometimes it looks like a black ball of hair or something like that. So there's like this angle of all of this where there's like a parasite. It's depicted as like a black goo, and it seems to be symbiotic to this entire phenomenon one way or another. So yeah, you just have Scarlett Johansson. If you bring that up one more time, she's got this black goo all around her. It's in a pentagram shape, and then yeah, behind her is a white door, some sort of a white portal. So very interesting imagery there. That's from Lucy.
And I think that's showing you Eastern mysticism, that this is actually a spiritual transformation, and I think why we can't necessarily get there in the sub-physical world is because there's no technology yet to bring us into that. But I think they're working on that. And I don't know if it's in the name of a digital ID or what, but, I had Topher on the show last night.
Oh, Gardner.
Yeah, yeah. I
Love that guy. He's the man.
Yeah, he's cool.
He is
and
awesome.
he's a big biochar guy, right?
Yeah, big into biochar. Yeah.
I burn stuff at, low oxygen. That's way over my head.
Yeah,
but,
I don't understand what he's talking about, but I like when he talks about
yeah.
it.
Well, he talks about graphite, and graphite, has a lot of properties and a lot of capabilities to it, and I'm wondering.
Graphene.
Yeah, graphene. Yeah, exactly.
It's like self-assembling
and we talked about it.
nanoparticles
I came
type
on
of
the
deal.
show and talked about it. This was before you guys had just a beautiful studio. This is where I was at my house.
Shout out to the Standard Coffee Shop.
Yeah. And are they wanting to use graphene quantum dot technology in a synthetic form where it can be a part of our molecular structure and it could bring us into that new age of consciousness?
It's like they're using this technology as a parasitical host.
Yeah.
And every time it's displayed in this manner, like we're seeing Scarlett Johansson, it's like a very parasite-like
Yeah.
thing. I mean, it calls back to Venom, which is a parasite. And then in that movie, we love to talk about the scene where Tom Hardy calls him. He's like, "You're like a parasite, man," and Venom like freaks out and he like kicks his ass.
That's
And
interesting.
They don't like being called exactly.
We have
what,
no right to interfere with our way of life. Right?
Yeah, in our parasitic nature of life. This is what they are. This is what they're depicted as. And it's crazy to even like fold this into some kind of Gnostic religion and people to see it and think it's like okay or good, like not just completely not understanding what they're looking at. It's like if a spider crawled across the table, all of us would react in the way you're supposed to react to a spider, or a snake just like, rolled under the door.
Yeah.
If you don't react that way, I've got to start to question your survival skills, your ability, like what's going on with
I think
you.
David would just start shooting at it.
I would
Probably.
yeah. Well, let me ask you.
But that's a correct manner.
How often do you see this? How often do you shoot this? How often do you see this kind of thing where it's like a movie and there's a demonic possession and their eyes get like smoky, tendrily black until the whole thing goes black? Like they use that mechanism all the time. The little subtle details like that, like the parasitic thing. We were talking about the movie Weapons recently, and somebody emailed me, actually. I have to look into that. But Weapons is, like, really huge. Mm-hmm. They're telling you everything in Weapons. There's, like, this constant nod to the year 1948. I'm pretty sure that applies to Operation Paperclip, and I think that's where a lot of this stuff comes from. Because when we're talking about, you asked earlier, like, when did I don't know, whatever you said made me think about this idea. Like, when did the Babylonian thing really start for us? And you said that it's been there all along, but I think it really kicked off late 40s, early 50s. We're talking about Parsons and everything. NASA, the Nazis that we took from Operation Paperclip.
Well,
I think they really discovered a thing.
This iteration of it.
Yeah, I think it really kicked off during that era. But
You read the Bible, in the time of Daniel,
it's there.
it's there.
It's always there, yeah.
It preceded.
It's
it
just
probably
evolved.
It
Yeah.
evolved, but it
Changes.
really, like, boom, locked its claws in and got to work.
That's when the Babylonian Empire took over. That's why they got kind of sucked into this empire.
Yeah.
So, but it was always there. It's just, I guess it's just under a different name. It's the same thing. This is what the show's about. It's the same thing over and over, rebranded.
Nothing
with a
new under
different
the
name.
sun.
Now it just presents itself as kind of.
I think it
Whereas-
fades away and it comes back.
Before, the Babylonian Empire, the mystery Babylon school was covering your house in dung.
Yeah.
When you
Who's
disagreed with
reducing
it.
your house to dung every time you screw.
Yeah,
Well,
now they're just making TikToks, and it's kind of like, all
the
right,
TikTok is
you guys
Lucifer's
fell
gay.
off.
But in Weapons, one of the other things, there's three other elements really important they keep pointing to the entire time. One of them is parasites. Over and over again throughout the film, there's parasites and all their details written on a chalkboard. There's also
Steven was asking who one of our sponsors were.
Parasite Cleanse,
Parasite
right?
Cleanse,
How much of a banger is that?
Yeah.
Like just
Shout
over
out
the target.
Purge
Store.
suddenly.
Well, it's Purge
Purge
Store
Store.
now. Shout out Purge Store. Love those guys. We're gonna get a sign in here soon, and we'll start running those ads again. Love those guys, and I think it's so cool that we're offering this. By the way, you can still go to purgestore.com, use promo code Nephilim. I think it's 10 or 15% off. But by the way, I was actually about to buy.
This guy, he's pulling out like
I got a detox
potions
right here.
I was about to buy a cycle's
They're
worth.
elixirs.
Yeah.
Is that your on the go detox just in case?
He's like, I know I'm going to see Nephilim.
Yeah, whenever I
Death
freak
Squad.
out, I just
Who knows what I'm going to catch? And then so it's the parasite thing. And by the way, in the film, it also I'm not spoiling it. These are things you're going to hear in the background if you're paying attention. Because if you watch movies like I watch movies, which is you don't give a damn about the plot, you're watching all the background noise. So you've got parasites, and then you've also got cordyceps mushrooms and their ability to hijack a host like an insect and drive it to its death or whatever so that it can spawn. The other thing that they're showing you in the background is frequency, which obviously frequency plays a huge part of this. And this is
That's why she had a bell.
Yes. And then who is she?
And who had the bells? The bells are at the top of churches for Gnostic churches
Yep.
and all these other places. And in Eastern mysticism, when you go into that religion.
Where are the bells?
Bells.
We got to do an episode on the bells, by the way. And
Well,
then
I have a whole. I could pull it up here.
spreadsheet on bells.
No, go ahead. I'll pull this up.
And then the third element, obviously, being witchcraft, and which brings me to my point of that ramble, which is like we're looking at graphene, or was it graphene, right? Or like this parasitic goo, or all these different things. I'm like, I think there's so many angles at play. There's not just one angle for the frequency. There's like 100 different angles for the frequency. If it's 5G, if it's what's coming through the phones, if it's the Bluetooth and the Wi-Fi, whatever. There's a million different ways they're doing it. And if it's the parasites, there's a gang of different ways they're coming at that angle. If it's witchcraft, there's a gang of different ways they're coming at that angle. Sigils and all that crap, witch talk, we're talking about it. There is so many. There's a couple of main components, but within each component, there are so many subdivisions of ways that they're coming at you with this crap.
This is I can't show the people, but this is my like entire deep dive on vibration. This is just like the first chapter, and this is I know it gets crazy.
Should turn it into a book.
It's like chemistry class.
It is. The thing is, it's like people were asking about that. They're like, "Oh, tell me about the theories." Like, it's everything. It's all things.
Yeah.
But you have to start at. I'm not great at science, but you have to start at science and chemistry. You have to understand light. You have to understand sound, frequency, vibrations, all this stuff, and then you can start to talk about how it affects like the fundamental building blocks of everything that we do.
Right. Well, it's even supposedly at the foundation of the technology that they used to build these things. It's either giants built the things, or we did it through frequency and harmonics technology, where you were able to vibrate a gigantic block, or even change its molecular structure through frequency so that it was temporarily incredibly light and easy to move. I say, why not both? Why not giants and frequency technology? But I think that's what it is. It's like a multifaceted. There are so many moving parts. So when one person, like let's say the pyramids in particular, they go, no, this was done by giants, or somebody else goes, this was done by aliens, or whatever. Shout out to Brian of Demon Erasers. It's demons, much more accurate. Or another person goes, no, this was done through specific technologies. You can see on their hieroglyphics they're using something. It looks like frequency-based technology. But then you could also see on their hieroglyphics that some of the people are 20 times the size of other people. So it's like all these things are happening. We're just constantly, I think it's, we're all making the mistake of looking at one part of the elephant. Mm-hmm. And it's like you got to zoom out and realize like the elephant is made up of parasites. The elephant is made of parasites and frequency technology, witchcraft and sigils, and all of this crap.
Would be a great T-shirt, but nobody would get it.
Nobody would get it.
A parasitical elephant. In the room.
I would love it. And its legs were just made of sigils. And
sell like 3 shirts to 3 crazy people.
3 absolutely insane people. Yeah, man.
I wanted to mention something about the movie Weapons, because I actually that was actually one of the date nights that I rarely do with my wife. We went and we saw the movie.
What did you think of it? Like good or bad?
I think that now that what I know, it was nothing more. Go ahead.
I just remembered. Shout out to Wesley Roth, the homie who sent me this information right here. I'm going to read it.
Wait, Nick Cannon was in Weapons?
No, he wasn't.
This is the wrong.
No, he wasn't. Get out of here.
No, I swear.
That was a movie about guns where he was trying to get street cred. Okay, so here we go.
David, I simply cannot watch this. This guy.
No. That is not what we're watching, dude. We're not watching that. That's not it.
What was that, Drumline?
The writer. Okay. That was actually a great movie. Shout out Nick Cannon. So the Wes Roth was watching an interview with the director of Weapons, who said he received all of the plot details. How did he receive them, Top?
It's a download, dog.
There you go, baby. All of it was a mental download. He says, quote, all my ideas are given to me by something outside of myself.
Okay, so that there reminds me of what Puharich was into with ESP, and also this kind of sixth sense where, again, people are tapping into the metaphysical, getting these things from ascending masters, getting these things from, this team that is against God pretty much, right? And there's a bunch of different things of that kind of creation. I mean, it's insane. When you were talking about, let's just look at the movie real quick, because this does resemble Mystery Babylon.
Okay.
Who was the main character that was the bad person in the movie? It was the witch, right?
Yeah.
It was the divine feminine. Mm-hmm. And so if you look back at Nikola Tesla's research, and he was not a scientist, don't get that twisted, he was actually an occultist.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
He got downloads as well. I mean, Puharich's, work with the channeling of the nine and all of this kind of stuff. Who did he first come across with that experience? He came across, I think it was a Eastern mystic that channeled, them at a table in front of him.
D.G. Vinod.
There you go.
Exactly, and I know you guys have killed this back in the past with the telepathy stuff and all that. I mean, shout out to you guys, because that's awesome research. I got to get you guys on my show to talk about that, because
we haven't done
Wasn't that supposed to be this? We forgot.
What?
Oh, you bought your laptop.
I got it. Oh no, you know what? It's all right. We'll figure
air
it
it
out.
at the same. Yeah. Sorry.
So it's okay. So Nikola Tesla, he actually was more feminine than you think. And,
he looked it, dude. He looked a little soft.
Oh, yeah. And with this energy that he was actually experimenting with, is that chi. It is that ether. It's that universe that all the alchemists were trying to take out of things. People think that alchemy is where you're transferring lead into gold.
That's
But
how people kind of look at it.
And that's something that they promote because they want to bury the actual true alchemical experiments that they're actually doing. What they actually were doing is they thought that energy was residing in everything. And what they wanted to do was basically extract the energy out of this glass, take the energy out and make elixirs to it, to where now they can take this as like medication, which is technically this energy that you extract out, which is the ether. When you kind of combine all four of the elements together, air, water, fire, earth, and you combine them together to get the ether, this is the energy that they try to put into basically vials so that they can drink it like the fountain of youth. This is known as the Philosopher's Stone. This is what Vril Society, which is a part of the Thule Society, which is back in those times of the 30s and 40s when you said that this stuff kind of just started hitting off. Think of it like the Indiana Jones movies. The Germans were really trying to go out and to get relics because they were trying not only to find the Philosopher's Stone, but they were trying to extract the power and the energy that was in these relics out so they can manipulate it to create eternal life for themselves. It's nothing more than the fruit that is a part of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Yeah. But back to the weapons movie. Well, Nikola Tesla, he worshipped what was called the queen bee. It's so funny, queen bee. When you think of the queen bee,
Beyonce.
Sure, yeah. I mean, they may, I even think entertainment, kind of shouts out those names.
Yeah, they do it. Yeah.
And that kind of buries the true information of these things. But Queen Bee is this eternal force, right? It's Sophia, okay? And in the what does a queen bee do? A queen bee is a part of a colony, and it actually controls the worker bees by sending out pheromones, frequencies, vibrations, all this kind of stuff. Now, in the movie Weapons had...
I don't know if you want to read this real quick, but this was an interview with Nikola Tesla.
Yeah, what does it say? The woman is the boss?
The life of the bee will be the life of our race.
There you go.
A new sex order is coming with the female as superior. You will communicate instantly by simple vested pocket equipment.
What?
Aircraft will travel the skies unmanned, driven, and guided by radio. Enormous power will be transmitted great distances without wires. Earthquakes will become more frequent. Temperate zones will turn frigid or torrid. Some of these awe-inspiring developments, says Tesla, are not so very far off.
That's fascinating.
That's basically biblical prophecy, but it's...
well, what is he doing? Is he channeling entities?
It's not incorrect. It's just coming from the opposite angle that I'm looking at it from.
Yeah. Well,
interesting.
To quote the other queen bee, who runs the world?
Girls. Well, sorry. Finish your thought.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. The whole idea of Nimrod and the Tower of Babel is the Tower of Babel and Nimrod are acting as the queen bee. Like, how do you think they all united? How do you think they all built this tower and they all came together? I think it was because Nimrod was using the metaphysical to control this population, to bring them into one, and to do this work for him, so that they can reach the imaginations that they had. And if you think about in the movie Weapons, what was the lady doing?
Thank you, Matt. Thank you very much. Thank you, Matt of the Standard Coffee Shop.
Shout out,
wow. Brought me I don't know what it is.
It's good. It's good. It's going to crack you out.
Whoa, that's really good.
It's
dude.
good, right?
What is that?
I want one more.
You should probably tell us what it is so we can tell people to come down and have. This is amazing.
Yeah, it's fire. But the witch in the movie was the queen bee, and she was manipulating and controlling the consciousness of the people that she was putting spells on.
Yep.
And she was using them for her own will, but here's the other part of it, where she was using the consciousness she had to in order to survive and to reach the Philosopher's Stone, that fountain of youth, especially Ponce de Leon. Like, he's the one that came to Florida trying to find this.
It's out here,
right?
It's out here.
Yeah, I mean,
got some of it in my
and I think that's
kitchen.
the whole connection with it. I think that if we're going to circle back around to the times of Babylon, in our lifetime, who knows? There's going to be a city of Babylon. The Revelation talks about that, but then there's going to be mystery Babylonian religion. And I'm wondering if it's going to be, is the city of Babylon going to be like the new pyramid? and where the Maitreya is the new city of Babylon going to be Shambhala, and the Maitreya, this is his, palace, and out of that comes these frequencies for whoever has this technology. Now they become his weapons. If that makes any sense.
I think that whatever it is, man, we're on the precipice of it, and I think that when you see Elon Musk doing his ketamine, kind of thing, I think he's channeling, man. I think he's channeling. I think he's in communication with these entities. I don't think that he
What is it? Sorry to interrupt.
Go ahead.
What is Shambhala? Is that?
It's from
Shambhala is like this heavenly realm. It's this heavenly
from like
city.
India, more or less.
It's saying that it has something to do with inner Earth.
Oh, that's interesting. I wonder. What if it's because you would imagine, like, if there was a city like this to emerge, that you would be watching its development right now, but you couldn't watch it if it's inside Earth.
It would come from the sky, but if it's inner Earth, now we're talking about your boy with the missing fingers and that phenomenon.
Phil Schneider, or really, what's Homeboy's name? The pilot who did sort of the journey to the center of the Earth. I forget his name, but very famous story where he allegedly flies his plane into a hole in the ground in Antarctica, I believe, and is greeted by a technologically advanced civilization that's been under there for some time. And this is basically rumored to be, and we talked a little bit about this with Danny of the Rabbit Hole podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea is that these are Atlanteans that escaped inward. Agartha, right? That's a Admiral Byrd. Thank you, Zach. And Redbeard. Yeah, so Admiral Byrd, I almost wanted to say General Flynn, but I don't want to confuse that guy with our faithful leader, General Flynn. Thank you for the funding for the podcast studio. And but the idea.
I just wonder
here,
how long until people actually believe that.
I can't wait until it gets on General Flynn's radar, where he's like, He has to go through his paperwork. Are we
we
funding
paying these idiots?
these browns in the standard coffee shop? But the idea is that these are Atlanteans that escaped to inner Earth when the planet was flooded, and continued making this hyper advanced civilization. So what I'm getting at is, Stephen, if we're expecting this city to emerge, this Shambhala, it would be hard. You'd be hard pressed looking around and trying to determine, like, well, what city might that be? L.A. Because you would see it developing, unless it's in Earth. Unless it's inside, hollow Earth, and you would never see its development. And we could suddenly make some miraculous discovery. This thing could show itself one way or another.
It's like, man, who's doing the earthquakes? That will become more and more frequent.
They're like, when you hit the ceiling with a broom when your neighbors upstairs are being noisy, they're just like, stop.
Construction.
Stop doing all that. Yeah, all the frequency warfare.
And I think it's Atlantis. It's like this idea. It's the same idea. It's like this place where it brings the golden age, and kind of just full circle back around to what we kind of got into in the beginning of the show. When you see Trump right now and you see what's going on with the Republican Party and how they're really bringing in this new idea of Christianity, I mean, if you look at who's affiliated with him, and especially who Charlie Kirk was affiliated, which he got funded $18 million to start his show at 19 years old. So it's kind of
a hell of a show to start. Like $18 million. I just think like 10 grand you could start a show.
Yeah, not even. This is way less.
Yeah,
that's the thing. He's very good at what he does, but like there's a lot of weird connections, a lot of weird money around the guy.
People don't like that. They get really upset. And it's like it's
like,
not
hey,
diminishing the horror of what happened if it did happen.
Yeah, but it's also like we kind of have to talk about that.
You have to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I think that what we're seeing is with that Christian movement that's coming out of the right wing right now.
Yep.
I feel like it's very interesting. Not only is it the new apostolic reformation, which I explained earlier is the evolution of New Age. And I don't know if you've ever walked into any of these kind of churches. I went to school at Southeastern University, which is in Lakeland. It's not too far from here. And it was nothing but hipsters and guys with long hair.
Disgusting.
And I'm cool with hipsters, but the way church was ran there seemed to be kind of like New Agey now that I look at it. But anyways, the person that runs the faith department for the Trump administration, I forget her name, but she advocates for the Seven Mountain Mandate. Are you guys familiar with
I'm not familiar with the Seven Mountain
So the
Mandate.
Seven Mountain, if you look at anyways, the Seven Mountain Mandate is where they're trying to bring heaven on earth,
Doesn't that seem to be not?
which is gnosis. It is
Right.
Shambhala. You kind of get what I'm trying to say. It's
Yeah.
like that concept. It might not be specifically that, but it's where they're trying to get into education. It's the infrastructure of America, but they're trying to bring back the Christian morals and values
This
Isn't that
woman,
funny?
to these things.
Madonna, by
something
the
white,
way.
Paula White.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
she
there
looks
is.
like a Shambhala ass.
Yeah, well, she's actually an astral projector.
Oh, yeah, she looks
and
like
she's,
one.
She's a New Ager.
She's an
She-
astral
she,
projector.
She just brands these things under Christianity.
Yeah.
That's how you blend these things in.
Yeah, shout out Madonna. Ooh, heaven is a place on earth.
Wait, she's really an astral. I haven't heard that. That's
Oh yeah,
I never even heard of her.
She says that she gets divine wisdom from
The
going
astral
to
plane?
heaven
She goes
and
to heaven.
getting it in these states that she goes
That's
into.
no big deal, dude.
When you think of guys, I mean, just imagine this.
I
This
believe
is-
her, but I don't
Yeah.
know which heaven.
Yeah, I don't know where she's
Right,
going or what she's
right,
talking to. She's going somewhere. She's talking to something.
Yeah. Well, even in the Bible, right? Paul actually was taken up into the third heaven.
Right.
Okay. And when he was taken up into the third heaven, he was told not to speak of these things. And I think that that's something that shows what team is behind.
Well, yeah,
these
because
instances.
very often you will have people channel any number of things, whether it's the Ascended Masters, aliens, the Galactic Federation, the Pleiadians, you name it. And these things will be like, oh, you have to bring back this message, and this message is it's time for humanity to ascend or do X, Y, and Z. And it typically does kind of point to like a utopian paradise on Earth. If Earth can just avoid this calamity and mankind can just ascend, then there could be a utopia.
Oh my gosh, what you just talked about is literally what the Raelian cult is.
Yeah.
What Rael was told by the Elohim.
Yeah.
Is to build a utopia first, and then they will come and reveal themselves.
It's the same thing every time. It's even what the Ennead was saying to some degree, right? When they're channeling the Ennead, it's like, oh, well, humanity has to ascend, and there's a calamity incoming. So it's like it's the same message. It's just fascinating because it's like they don't care who's delivering the message. Could be the Ennead, could be the aliens, could be the Raelians, could be the Ascended Masters. Doesn't matter. Just hear this thing and spread it, please. And it's that you have to ascend and you have to create a utopia and you have to,
Sometimes it really makes me think of like, what the hell am I doing? Like we open up a podcast studio in a coffee shop, and these guys are out there like making major moves toward the end times, and I'm just like, does this matter?
I don't think it matters. I mean,
Yo,
Matt,
hey,
Matt brought us this.
chat, does this matter?
Chat, is this real?
Is this real right now?
No, I like it. They're ushering in the Antichrist, and we're drinking these delicious drinks and
We
having
got to
these
be in the White
conversations.
House doing stuff.
We should be in the White House,
I don't
right?
wanna be there.
What do you want to do in the White House?
Nothing. I don't want to be
Well,
there.
do you hear the significance behind the Seven Mountain Mandate, right? So if you go into
No, what is
Revelation,
that?
I think it's 1920 or 18, I can't remember. But if you just type in Mystery Babylon, it's in capital letters, and it's when John is seeing this entity, Mystery Babylon, on the waters. And then he's like, I don't know what I'm looking at.
I love
Angels
in the Bible when they're like, thanks, but what?
Yeah. You're like, this isn't for you for now. This is just, don't worry about it.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't know what to do with this. And the angel's like, chill, bro. Look,
Yeah.
listen, this is what it means, okay? Calm down. I know this is tripping you out. But basically, the seven heads that are a part of Mystery Babylon are mountains or hills. And so when I hear Seven Mountain Mandate, it kind of sounds like, man, is this something contributing to Mystery Babylon? Is Christianity being moved up onto that plane with all
Here's
the other
the
religions?
mandate is to obviously to have it take control of religion. Okay, family, not against it.
Woman.
Education, getting weird. Arts and entertainment, media, business is where we're getting real tricky, and then the cream on the cake is government. That's the last
Government.
Yeah, you don't want Christians mixed up with definitely business or government, unless it's a 501c3 and they could have buildings and nice things like that. Then that's cool, right?
Right.
Yeah.
don't
Okay.
know, man.
It's a weird one. It's a weird one because it's something that I don't know if I've necessarily called for it, but I'm like we've watched the left make it slow crawl through all of these institutions and
But you
take it.
think So do you think this is like 7 mountains, 7 heads, seven-headed dragon? Is this like that same system? Because it's like, if you look at the way these beasts are shown throughout the Bible, it's like every time they're kind of different. It's just like God is showing a vision and he's showing it a little bit different every time, but it's like the 7 heads or whatever. It all represents the same coming beast.
Also, I think the question is like, well, should we not do these things? Because right now, all of these entities are co-opted by forces that we don't like.
Right, but it's like we're what are we
We're just men.
No. It's this idea of like we are strangers in a foreign land. Like we're passing through. We're not meant to like
It's like
create heaven on
abomination.
earth.
To mix the things of the earth and the things of God is an abomination, and that's why like when they were asking Jesus to do that, he was like, "This isn't mine. This coin is not mine."
It's like if your love is in the world, then the love of the Father is not in you. It's where if you push towards contributing towards these things, and again, they sound really good. It sounds like you're for humanity, but just go back to that idea of unity and balance, and that this is what Satan's trying to do, to bring together the entire world. And there's really nothing you can do to get around it. It's prophecy,
Right.
It's going to play out how God says it's going to play out. I just think Satan's using the Christian church right now to assist with leading in a new idea of religion, what that's going to maybe be consisted of, and who's going to take it over, or show us the real potential of religion, which could be the Maitreya.
It's like I wish I had my notebook. I got to bring my notebook because it's got all these like notes from previous shows that we did. But I always found it interesting. You have these mystics and you have these occultists, right? So you have like Alice Bailey and Blavatsky, and they're saying that 2025 is going to be not only the beginning of a new age, and they even use the expression the golden age, but they also say that it's going to be alien, like, it's when we encounter aliens. But then like one of them also said, I don't know if it was Blavatsky, but they're all looking at 2025, and one of them said like
the hierarchy.
Well, they're saying the return of Jesus. And it's like, okay,
this is back what I was saying. I think literally that the Antichrist is going to come like Christ.
Right.
And I think the Christians are going to believe, like you shared a video on X not too long ago. I think it was you, maybe it was someone else, but it was Greg Locke. And Greg Locke, the pastor in this Tennessee church or something, or it's in Alabama, I think. And he's waving a Israel flag on stage or something. He's like, we need to build the third temple to usher in the reign of Jesus Christ. And I'm like, what is going on here?
Is that what we were told to do?
Yeah. Well, is Satan trying to come on earth?
Yeah.
Before, as Antichrist, right, from our perspective, but to the Christians, he's going to be perceived as Christ for his millennial reign. If you think of Shambhala, if you think of Utopia, if you think of all these things, that can show similarity with the millennial reign, right? When you read about what the millennial reign discusses, it says basically that you're going to live a lot longer than expected. You're going to live like much longer. There's going to be no sickness, going to be peace, all this kind of stuff. It almost sounds like this utopia that the Antichrist we think is going to bring in.
Well, to deceive all the nations, it's got to be a pretty big deception. You know what I mean? It can't be something that, because as somebody who's, I've been a conspiracy theorist for a long time, but I've always got this feeling. It's like no matter how much I think I see, like this thing that's coming is going to be real tricky, real tricky.
I look at that all the time, and you see all your friends, and maybe, I don't know, maybe my friends have looked at me and they're like, that guy kind of fell off. But since the beginning of this political whatever kind of journey, did you just destroy my peace there?
It's an accident.
It was an accident. He's been doing it for, that's fine.
It was an
it's
accident.
Okay. If since the beginning of this like weird journey that I've been on, political, whatever you want to call it, you watch multiple psyops come in, and I was on this journey before, and you watch come in. You watch the next thing. You watch the next smaller psyop, and people just peel away. And
they kind of fall for one, and they fall to the side, and
I'm always looking, and I've been saying it for a long time. I'm like, what's the one that's going to get me? Because there is one that I'm waiting for that's going to get me.
Right.
And there's been, they've gotten close, but I haven't been gotten yet. Like I haven't compromise myself in that way. Israel right now, this is the thing that I like to talk about
He
a
does
lot.
hate the
It's not that, but I see it as this is a big falling away for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people don't see it, or they're compromised, or they're scared. And it's just one of those things that it's like, all right, that person's off of the journey. Whatever this journey is that I'm on, I've seen them fall to the side, and now I have to keep going this way.
Well, Zach says the aliens. That's going to be a huge one for
Well, I mean,
everybody.
we already know, like for us, that's like, it's going to be
yeah, for us,
fine.
we'll be good with that one. But
Yeah,
I think
but-
as long as you like,
Oh my! Do you know how many people are going to fall off for the aliens?
it's going to be insane.
in the political realm alone.
They're
going
gonna
to
be so about it.
Oh, soy face!
Yeah,
Our
it's gonna be
alien
bad.
brothers. What should we do with government?
That's like I don't think that I see it yet, that I know it yet, but I do have faith that like as long as I keep this objective, you know,
I'm watching for it.
and I genuinely want to pursue the truth, that I'll be all right. That God will show me when it's time to show me.
You know how I know this is how I know that I haven't fallen off yet of this whatever journey. People can go back on my Twitter feed and you can look at all the shit that I've said, and it's like, you know, it's made it so that people like Blue Letter Bible don't mess with us.
Shut up, Blue Letter
That's
Bible.
fine, but I go back and I look at it and I go, I wouldn't take a word back.
Oh, yeah,
I didn't
same.
say anything wrong. I may have said it in a brash way, but I was just too early.
Nice guys say a fun
know?
way, but you know.
Like, yeah, no, sorry. Like,
Sorry, it was funny.
I was 6 months early. Owen Benjamin was 8 years early.
Yeah.
That's and you paid the price for that. But I haven't looked back and said, oh man, wish I didn't take that stance yet. So I'm like, all right, we're still on.
You know, there were times.
But
like
there's a thing. There is a thing.
There is
and
a thing.
Can't wait. I cannot wait to fall off.
well, yeah.
I think I fell off.
I mean, there was a time where I was like, I bought in for like 4 solid months, 4 maybe 3, but like I was bought in to the whole QAnon thing. Like I was really bought into it. I was watching it unfold in real time. This is like 2018, 2000, probably 2019 before I started to realize like, wait a second, and then I know I was in a good place before the popped off, where I was like, no, this is an operation. But like the thing was, they were putting so much truth in front of you that, you know, it wasn't until I got to things like JFK Jr. is alive.
Hold on.
Like
a
he's
second.
alive
I want
and he's
the
gonna
people to
return.
see- I want the people to see what you've done to my.
Go ahead, have a gander.
Look at what he's done to my.
You
Show
probably
it to
can't
them.
see. What? This
Look.
was a Top Lobster logo. Not anymore.
Oh my goodness.
Well, you know what it was. You know what it was. One of the little was too
It
weak,
came
and
off,
it came
yeah.
off, and I said, well, now it's just gonna get
Now I'm
destroyed.
gonna chew on it.
Now I'm gonna see what this thing's made of, and I'm pulling it apart layer by
It's
layer.
made of wood. Surprise.
But no, well, but there is going to be something, and whatever it is, it's got to be good enough. And so if you think
I
that,
can't
like,
wait. It's going to be fantastic because
Right.
it's going to. If it's going to fool me, I've been so skeptical of everything. It's got to be like top notch stuff, and it's
Yeah.
going to be really good.
by the way, though, I know we have to bring it in for a landing, but I got to say this: we're going to be rich.
What does that mean,
We're going to be super rich, and it's going to happen soon,
guys?
But-
By the way, if you donated 5 figures to any donation, any kind of foundation, David just lost his car.
well,
So-
look, I had a dream last night.
I got
You got a button for it? You don't have a button. So that's
Oh,
at
we
the
do
other
have.
studio. Oh, we have a button for it. Okay, well,
Yeah, we gotta give
so
it a second.
so last night I had a lot of. I was peppered with dreams last night.
boy.
Really strange. And only a few of them do I remember. And I got you. Oh, Matt, you're just in time to hear my dream. And so
He just
it
says no.
no. So I have this dream that all of a sudden I encounter, which is very strange because I haven't felt that way. Dude,
God,
these are
dude, you're gonna kill these
delicious.
guys.
What is this?
I knew you'd like
Can you say it? What is it? So I can say it on the
These are
show.
blenders. This one's mocha. You had an Irish cream. He had a caramel.
Dude, when you come to the standard coffee,
Ooh.
It's okay. I'm okay. I'm all right, Matt.
when you come to the standard coffee, get a blender. This is a mocha one.
Do
This
you guys
is
like
so
the
good.
you guys like the
dude.
Bellacam? Is it cool?
This is good.
Did he get into like Mystery Babylon and stuff?
Oh,
Dude, you missed the whole show.
I
It's
love Steven's stuff.
it's too. Dude, Steven crushed this episode. By the way, you crushed this episode. By the way.
Look at what he crushed. He crushed my little logo.
So listen, can I tell you about my dream?
Yes, yes.
All right, so I've been in a really nice way. God has blessed me, and I've not been financially stressed out in a long time. And you know, everybody that watches the show knows I came from like.
I like
eating-
when David gets financially stressed because he gets shingles.
I do get the shingles.
Are we doing this?
I do get the
I
shingles.
guess I'm not. I didn't ask
Well,
him
listen,
to, but
Begging for donations.
No, I'm not begging for donation. I'm trying to say because we're gonna be rich.
we're just saying
I know
5
you are.
figures.
We're about to be rich. I don't want to tell the story about
Matt, 5 figures went somewhere when
Well,
we could.
from-
David needed a new car.
5 figures went out. So you know, I haven't felt that way in a long time. So Top will say things like, "Are you all right? Like, is everything good? Like money wise?" I'm like, "Dude, I haven't had to worry about a bill in so long. I can't possibly complain." So out of character, I had this dream last night that like all of a sudden I
Out
hit
of character.
Out of character. Well, no, the dream is still perfectly within character. I have this dream that I hit like financial strife. And look, I'm not complaining, but just to explain the logistics, this studio is expensive. And so, but I go, it's okay because, you know, we just keep doing well. So I'm going to shell out and we're going to do. All of a sudden, something happens. My account hits like zero. And then my car breaks. I had this dream last night that we hit financial strife, and it causes like a lot of panic. But I'm like, it's okay. Immediately after that, this is such as goofy imagery associated with being wealthy. We are on crystal towers of wealth. I know that that's insane to say, but that's what happened in the dream. I go from like calamity, like financial calamity, to all of a sudden
Wait,
being,
your car broke in your dream?
I like everything went to shit financially.
Your car broke in your dream.
I'm trying to tell you, you're not listening to me. You're clicking away. Okay? So I have this dream. There's like some sort of big financial strife. And my car is I remember it as just being like I couldn't afford my car, which didn't really make a lot of sense because my car is paid off, which is great because that's what happens, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, you pay off your car, and that's what it waits for you on the other side of paying your car off. Is that so?
You got to fix it.
That you got to fix it.
Honestly,
So you know, but I'm cool. I'm chilling. Next thing I know, we are on pillars of crystal.
Oh my god!
And it's like I don't know what it means. We're just in abundance, all right, and everything is totally good.
But what is reality?
By the
Reality
way,
he wakes up, goes to the gym. He's like, "Yo, Top, I need you.
I need you to pick me up from the gym." So by the way, though, I had another dream.
Sucks, man.
Can I tell you about the other dream really quickly?
No, please.
I was a dwarf. I was a dwarf. I was a dwarf.
Steven,
this is a real dream.
Being in front of him in real life is any of this like things that are not accurate? Like
being a financial.
He's like, I had a dream. I was
dwarf
broke,
in financial strife,
and my car was broken.
Listen, in the next trailer you guys make, there has to be a broken down vehicle.
Dude. Shout out to my 2013 Elantra that is dead. So I was a dwarf. I had a battle axe.
Is it dead? It's completely gone.
I don't. It's a dude. You know what the problem is? The steering column is shot. My fuel pump is gone. That's what the issue is. It's a fuel issue. So it'll crank, but it won't fire. And it's not a battery thing. It's not a spark thing. I know what it is. But you start looking at the amount of money that it's going to take, which I don't have that, by the way, at all.
Car.
What? I'm not going to pay for this 2013 Elantra to get resurrected, from the grave.
I'm so glad that 5 figures went to Blue Letter Bible.
Shout out Blue Letter Bible.
Which
you guys
can't read.
Anyway, but yeah, so I have that dream, and nobody wants to hear about my dwarf dream. That's fine.
I mean, it's a great dream.
I was a dwarf. I had a battle axe, and let me tell you about something about being a dwarf and fighting in the snow. Very difficult. Very difficult to be a dwarf and fight in the snow.
Oh my god.
Steven, do you see what do you see what I deal with? This is like before the shows, after the shows. Sometimes like the shows are really good focused. And
This
I'm
is a
just
good
like
focused
I'm
show.
just getting blapped with
Blap.
dreams.
I was getting blapped. I used my axe as a shield from the arrows. So I wake up in the morning.
It's okay.
I turned it sideways.
Okay.
I turned it sideways, and it worked out really well. And I kind of thought the functionality of a double bearded axe, and I said, "Is it also a shield if you're a dwarf?" I think it is. So I go to the gym this morning. Car fires up. Everything's good.
I want to get a Tesla Cybertruck that has like the skin that says the standard coffee shop.
That's a good idea. Whatever my next vehicle is, I'm going to get a big NDS logo and treat it as a write-off. But I go to the gym this morning. Everything's good. Car fires up. Just normal morning. Excited to come and hang out and do the podcast and everything.
Psych.
I get out and it cranks, never fires. And I'm just going, this fuel filter issue. Because it's not like if I fix the fuel filter, it buys me a little bit of time. It's the fuel pump is going.
Yeah.
And yeah, so long story short, very long story, I have to call you to come and pick me up, but I'm not bothered even a little bit. Because like this is unbelievable. My wife goes, this is so crazy this is happening. And I go, it's a crazy dream last night though, right? She goes, yeah, that's really weird.
He didn't seem bothered.
Not bothered, not even a little bothered. My car is literally dead in a parking lot. I don't know how I'm going to get it out. I don't have any money to do this, but I have this wonderful studio. But I'm not bothered because it's all good. God's got me. It's very obvious. You don't have a dream like that. You know, my wife's like, oh, well, you know, could have just been because. I'm like, dude, baby, the car's been dying for a long time. God's literally just got his hand on it. Every time I get in the car, he's like, yeah, come on, let's go. It's not meant to run, but it'll keep running. And it's been like that for 2 years or something like that. And then all of a sudden today, for absolutely no reason, after the dream, the morning after the dream, not the last dream I had. The last dream I had, you know, blocking the arrows, very hard. I was going uphill. It's a snowy hill. I'm a dwarf. It's a huge problem.
We have lost.
You know,
the
we
plot.
defeated the first army, and then a second one came. And when the second one came, you know, we had to retreat. And
Were we at war with Tony Merkel?
No, it wasn't Tony
dwarves.
No. I was actually only one of two dwarves, actually, interestingly enough. It was a very diverse army. But yeah, I just wanted to say that. Isn't that strange? Don't you think it's strange? Not the dwarf dream.
It is, man. We live in a crazy realm, man. Dreams, visions, who knows, man. I mean, it's all wild.
I've been getting a lot of dreams, man. A whole lot of dreams. And this rant was brought to you by maybe the most concentrated piece of caffeine I've ever put into my body.
I'm glad that I got to taste it.
Yeah, I have
That's
jugular
nice.
vein distension.
I can feel it. I can feel it
coming
pulsating.
through.
Well, listen, let's bring this in. I don't want it to be all about my dreams. Thank you for coming by, dude.
This is fun.
Yeah,
we should
man,
do.
this was fun with you guys, man. It's always a good time.
Are you're close, right? Did you?
Yeah, it took 45 minutes to get here.
But soon
From
you're
where
going
I'm
to be.
at, but I'm going to be about 30 minutes away once
There
I
you go.
move into my new house. Pray for me because I'm going through a lot of really tough times with my builder. We're actually switching contractors. We're going through that process.
Big pain in the ass.
Got a bunch of liens on the house. We got to get paid off.
Talk to Matt, maybe about some builders in the area.
Oh, he knows everybody
Knows
for
every
everything.
single person.
Yeah. We're in that process right now. But hopefully, once we get switched over with the contractors, they're going to get done with the house in no later than 2 months. And once that house gets done, I'm going to start, building a studio in there. And I've been blessed through the ad revenue that my show's been bringing, so I've been saving up that money to put back into the show, and so that's exciting for me.
Well,
And,
I hope you'll be here often. We'd love to have you as often as you want to come and swing by.
We'll do a variety. I think we should do a variety of content with him. I think
so. Yeah.
yeah,
Because
having,
we had all this Babylon workings to talk about, but I was just like, we all click so well. I was just going to bring up stuff that's happening. We could always do that in the future. Just bring up things.
I really
that are
think
happening.
the way we all kind of have our perspectives and the way we think, it's like we're like the three guys that are a part of an NBA basketball team.
Yes.
here, and
I'm not a
the
very
three
tall
units. We got the
Well, I
two
mean,
little shooting
You
guards.
just had it's like the dream about the dwarf, but I mean, we
It's
could
always
use that
an
analogy.
excuse to come by and get whatever this is really good. Dude, that was a mocha blend. If you come to the Standard Coffee Shop, guys, mocha.
I was gonna say, and I will say this before we
do.
end, before you plug. There was a point where you were talking, and I looked over, and I was like, I feel like we're talking to the next. I don't know, I don't know if Gary Wayne is specifically the person that I'm talking about, but the next researcher in this field that, if done correctly. Yeah, that's just what I felt like. I was looking over at him, and I was just like, "Holy shit!" I was like, "Well, let's just get through this episode."
yeah.
Before we say anything, but yeah, something's happening.
You've been doing work.
Thank you, man.
You've been
Appreciate
doing
that.
work and research, and it's apparent.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I have a passion for this stuff, man. I love it. I try to bring in as much scripture as I can, which I'm still not as up to par or at the potential I think I want to get to, or
never
have
stopped
the
me.
capability of getting up to. God's really been putting me down a road, to try and seek out truth and to seek out information and research. And this is something I've always been really not obsessed with. Because I am a normal person. I'm not like
I think
this
that's
crazy
overrated.
guy,
Don't. I wouldn't worry about that caveat.
Yeah, well, I always ask God just to reveal things to me, show me things that I can share with people to just ultimately bring them to the gospel of Jesus Christ. I mean, I think I might have shared my testimony with you guys before on this show, and I wasn't a person that I didn't give this idea any time throughout the day in my old self. I didn't care about it, and then all of a sudden I was changed and renewed, and the Holy Spirit, has been with me ever since. And it's just things I've been going down, and God puts these little topics on my heart, and I'll go research, I'll outline, I'll try and study it as much as I can so that I can give it out there to shows, give it out there to, you guys and stuff. But you guys do great, man. You guys are awesome to have a conversation about these topics. I think the next rabbit hole I am going to go down is and thanks to you, because it's why did Jesus go into these areas, with these alternative narratives about Jesus and his life, and where did he go with, out into the East, or just, in the opposite area, to Egypt and all this kind of stuff. And because I do think at the end of the day, there's two narratives, and there's a narrative against God, and then there's God's narrative. And when you seek out these things and you really try to, and you investigate and you journalize these things, the truth seeps up to the top, like this cold foam here in this drink. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, I mean, we said it before. This is what the Gnostics hang their hats on, is this sort of thing. And if you want to be able to dispel some of these ideas that people don't really research, but they hear and it sounds good and they adhere to it, in order to dispel it, you have to understand it. And that's a lot of what I like to think, especially I used to do a lot more research on like all these occult topics, is like I understand it, and that's why I can talk about it. And also, for anybody to even take you seriously, you have to kind of show like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know that Jesus spent this time in Egypt, and this is what this means and everything, but here's where it may not mean what you think it means. And that's important. I think it's really important. A lot of Christians can't.
Well, they're scared to look at it too
like
deeply.
what they might find or something.
And I get it, but you have to have a firm foundation before you go into, a lot of extra canonical stuff, because people do get lost. People will get lost. I'm just too stubborn to be unconvinced by what I know to be true already. So I look into it. I know Matt's not a big fan of, like, he's like, oh man, like, people that
even
look
though
at
he'll
this
sell
stuff.
you the Kabbalah drink.
Yes, and then sell you the Kabbalah drink. I get it though. But for me, it's brought me here where I'm at today. Yeah. And strengthen my understanding and belief. Because before I was always in the church, but before I was just like, whatever, because I don't quite understand these things.
Right.
So I'm the type of person that had to have faith by reason.
Ooh.
Shout out.
Shout out Ed Mabry.
Yeah, shout out Ed. What's up, man?
Yeah. But tell them where they can find you, man.
Yeah, so you can find us on YouTube. That's the video source that we are on. The Biblical Hitmen over on YouTube. Yeah. So
Biblical
that's,
Hitman.
Hitmen. We'll see what the future holds with this name, with this title. Jesse and Taylor, they're a part of the show, but there's some things that we're working out and that we're trying to iron in this process.
Jobs and stuff.
Yeah, well,
demands.
it's just life has kind of taken a toll on the group, and I've been continuing the show as best as I can. And it's just me right now. But when things start to, get unwrinkled, and when things start to kind of, get out of the weeds as it is right now, we'll see what happens in the future.
I saw something in the chat that I think is actually a cool name. They said Apocalypse Gang. It's like, what if you whittled it down to like the Biblical Hitman, and then when the guys came on, it was Apocalypse Gang. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no reason to. You just got to change the branding a little bit. There goes Nephilim Apocalypse Squad.
Yeah, but we're on audio stuff too: Spreaker, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I can only just encourage people, if they like what I say, or talk about, or the guests that I have on, if they just enjoy the show in general, just subscribe to the channels, follow, 5-star reviews, click the notification bell, all that kind of stuff. But guys, thank you so much.
Thanks for coming,
allowing
brother.
me to be on your platform. I appreciate you guys very much.
Always a pleasure. By the way, guys, don't be afraid to drop a rating on our stuff. Only if it's 5 stars, though. Don't do it if it's not 5 stars.
Do whatever you want. Guys, thank you again. And Stephen, thanks again. Until next time.